Quit playing. I see the comments. Hello. Happy Tuesday. I missed my Babelets. I saw you guys talking about me in the comments. I seen that. Someone said, y'all, the other night had me rolling. Whatever happened the other night, Babelets, it was a figment of your imagination. It wasn't me. It was AI. Hello. Welcome back. Need a Modelo? No, I do not need a Modelo right now, but thank you. Actually, I do. I don't have any. Someone bring me one. Who's gonna scoop? It was hilarious. Did I entertain? Was I entertaining? I just know I got mad at the mic. That's all I know with the straw. Okay, yeah. Nothing but love. Hi, welcome back. I'm Melly. Welcome to my channel. You are on time. Hello, shout out to all the members. Oh, I saw God Family Country. Thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to you. It really does help the channel. And you get to experience the Melly After Darks. So I saw Tay. Oh, geez, there's a lot of you. Debbie. Hello, beautiful Debbie. Debbie's always showing me love in the comments. I'm obsessed with Debbie. I see Drakey. Hello, Wim. Olivia, if I missed any of you. Potato. Dana Hare. I saw Alsane. Okay. Cree, Bree with an E. Carrie. Hello. I'm reading. If you see smoke behind me, don't worry. Do not call the firefighters unless they're cute and they want to date and single. But other than that, please do not. It is my candles and my incense all around. If you see anything, I don't know. I think you guys can. And shout out, yay, Debbie, 1 month. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. Okay, tonight is not concert night. Hey, Farmero, good to see you. Farmero says he needs a new home. Yes, please. Come join us here. We're wild. Well, yeah, we are. Hey, Sherry. I see Sherry and I see Tara. Okay. Oh, look at that. Hossein has been in a relationship with me for 11 months. Wow. Where's my ring? Just kidding. No, that's awesome. Thanks, Hossein. You are an OG. And I saw Ruth. Okay. I missed Melly After Dark. Yes, it is now no longer on YouTube. Hey, Joker. So you got to take it for what it is, man. Melly After Dark is not for the faint of heart. That is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. That is very true. Melly After Dark is not for the faint of the heart. Okay. Uncry Me. Hi, Lovey. And hi, Lisa Marie. Hello, Babelets. All right. Enough of me yapping. Did I say hello, Ruth? Okay. Mama Silk. Alicia. Hello. Forge Jocks. I don't want to miss anybody. See Tippy. First Liberties. Okay. Sarah. I saw Sarah. Yeah, if you guys can hit the like button and hype it up. It really helps the channel. I would really appreciate that. And I do like to hear about you guys in the comments. I have to actually go through comments tonight. So we are in January 2022. This is a big deal for us. You remember that one day I was like, oh, it's 31,000 pages and we're basically almost done in like 10,000 pages. So actually I lie. I think it's like 8,000. But anyways, Mackenzie Shirilla text messages with Dom. We're in January 2022. And at this point, this is the year of the accident. So let's get to it. I'm going to, oh, there we go. They're already up on my screen. Yeah, only 8 months away. I know. I'm like, we're almost there. Yeah. I'm gonna take that out. Yeah. That should be in every title, not for the faint of heart. That's hilarious. Okay. So where did we leave off of? Before the Melly concert that you guys got on Sunday. Oh, wait. I was supposed to read text messages on Sunday. Oh, it's been 2 days already? No wonder you guys are looking for me. Okay. My bad. Just wondering why he's still here. I'm trying to remember. It's past Christmas for sure, because we're well, obviously January. Um, I don't really remember. I'll have to go back and you guys remember? Um, maybe I should like write this shit down, huh? Like what they left off on. I don't know. I know they were breaking up around the holidays, which is right now. So let's just go right into January. Well, he was like, she was like, bruh. And he was like, what? On the 31st at midnight. And then there's a screenshot that Dom sends. And another screenshot and another screenshot. Okay. And this is on the 1st at 10:17 a.m. More screenshots. Okay, that's weird. That's just Dom sending screenshots. And then it jumps to 12:43 p.m. and Kenzie says, "Look what Kendra sent." She says, "Save it." Dom says, "Okay, bet." Kenzie says, "What the F?" Dom says, "I would just stop texting her. Imma tell you something to say." Kenzie says, "I didn't say shit. I left that on open. Why the F is she trying to make shit up?" Dom says, "Just look, Karina, her falling has nothing to do with us. Leave us out of it, please, and leave us out of the cops, and you shouldn't talk to the cops either. She's just gonna get everyone in trouble by saying anything. Just don't say anything," says Dom. Kenzie says, "Imma say nothing. Check out the Jordan 1 retro." Okay, she's sending him shoes, per usual, using him. Okay, Dom says, "Those are gas." She says, I need them, I think." Dom says, "But $500 for some J's ain't the move. I can just get you designer shoes." And then Kenzie says, "Nuggy?" And he says, "What, babe? What's the move today?" She says, "I don't know. I want to do something at 2:25 p.m. Me and Nat are coming back." He says, "I bet." So they must have gone over to Dom's, probably to smoke. She said, "Urban Air. Who's still there?" He says, "Me and B. B about to slide though." Kenzie says, "Oh, so who's all trying to do something?" Dom says, "I don't know. He kept might be down to do something later. He's be getting swooped, so I don't know. I can ask him." Typos. Kenzie says, "Let me know." Dom says, "And Davion went to pick someone up." Okay, so again, I knew they were friends, but I mean, I didn't know that, um, like, that was one of Dom's best friends, right? But Kenzie, remember, had said I think she had very little interactions with him. Hey, Angie, good to see you. I'm out of my names. Who knows all the lingo? I do. Hey, Ash. Oh, you're awesome. I'm recovering from surgery. I had to dip out early from the concert before I hurt myself from laughing. That's hilarious. Think we're all getting a more clear idea of who Kenzie is. Oh, we know who she is. The little demon. Melly, I was going to file a missing report on you. I'm right here. I'm right here. Um, okay, so he says, "And Davion went to pick something up, so I don't know what doing. Do you want me to ask them all?" Kenzie says, "Should we all go to Urban Air tonight?" Dom says, "Yeah, I don't see why. Why not? Jared and B are both down. What time do you want to go?" Kenzie says, "Do you want to go a little bit later today when Kendra and Bella are free? Because me and Natalie want to take a nap and then we're down." He says, "Yeah, so what time?" Jared wants to know. She says, "Maybe around 6:30 or 7." He says, "Bet." And then that was at 3:06. And then at 4:20, she says, "Words out. People texting me asking if I'm okay." Like, I feel so bad. Dom says, "Who's texting what? I've been effed up over this. Not gonna lie. I feel super bad." Wait, what happened? They haven't said. What's going on? I'm freaking out. Is it just me or did no, he is talking about Davion. Liv- I know. That's why I'm like, what happened? He says, I've been effed up over this. Not gonna lie, I feel super bad. Kenzie says, Abby is asking if I'm okay. I feel so bad. Dom says, I feel like I could have done something. Kenzie says, I want to talk to her parents. We did the most we can. Wait, is this about the girl that she pushed down? I'm thinking that's what this is. Okay, yeah. See, Sherry says, are they talking about the fall? I think this is when she starts doing shady stuff with Grace. Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. I'm shook. Okay. Let's go back to it. She says, we did the most we can. Dom says, don't right now. I'd wait till if she's getting better. So yeah, it is. We really shouldn't confirm any info because who knows how people are going to act. Kenzie says, for real, I haven't told anyone but main people. I'm not telling anyone or asking. Dom says, I feel so bad for her. I hope her face isn't all effed up. Wow. That was at 4:22, and then it jumps to 7:43 p.m. She says, what are you doing? He says, about to eat some food. She says, where? He says, here. What are you doing now? She says, I slept. She says, now I'm here. He says, where? I might just come crash if that's what you about to do. She says, Nuggie, I need a thigh massage. Come. What the helly? What does she mean by thigh massage? Ew. They're talking about the girl falling in. Well, I mean, maybe a thigh massage would be nice, but not in terms of Kenzie and Dom. Okay, anyways. They was definitely being shady about it, says Sherry. They're talking about the girl falling down the steps, says Lisa. Okay. Remember, Davion carried that girl up. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. Bablet Ticka Ticka said, put the chats on the screen. There we go. I forgot. You got my beat. You got my back. Um, she says, Nugget, I need a thigh massage. Come. Dom says, I'm tired. You think I want to do that right now? Maybe a little. She says, yes, you do. He says, maybe. I just want to eat an edible and sleep for 12 hours. Kenzie says, okay, I'm going to bed. And then it jumps to the next day on the 2nd at 11:58 a.m. He says, when do you go back to school? She says, I don't know for real. Let me ask. Why? He says, I want to go to Aurora Farms. That's probably got some deals tonight. Oh, right now. RN. She says, I don't work all week. He says, we could go tomorrow or something. Kenzie says, my mom is saying I might go back to school tomorrow. WTF. Dom said, I was thinking that. I mean, holidays are over. Kenzie says, I don't know. Dom says, ask someone. Dom said, are those your Adidas pants on my bed and pink pants on my floor? Kenzie says, yes. She says, I bled. And then she sends a selfie. I don't know what that means. Dom says, okay, bet I didn't want some random BITCH pants on my bed. Kenzie says, what are you doing? He says, was about to take a bath, but I don't have any hot water. Wait, did she mean because of sex or because of the fall? Kenzie probably pushed her down the stairs for flirting with her nugget. Tracy. Yeah, wow. Kenzie pushed a girl down and Davion picked her up. That's something, huh? At least Dom didn't knock her up. Oh my goodness. I know. Hey, Mallory. You made it. Yay. Meanwhile, she was underage. Hey, Mallory. Oh my gosh. Okay. He says, was about to take a bath, but I don't have any hot water. And then she says, "What are you doing? WTF? Me and Grace want to go to the pool." She says, "Like, pool?" He I think there's a typo. She says, "I might go get pulp, but ask him to serious wash the F out of the blender before they make my shit. I want a good smoothie and pulp low key the best, but so nasty." Like, I'll be a bitch. I don't even care. But we can go to the pool. Does she mean pool? Why does she keep saying pool? He says, "Yeah, nothing as good as pulp so far." Yeah, you can. Me and Sean thinking Kendall need an LV bag. Mackenzie says, "WTF? Are you slow? Never text me that again." Dom says, "Why? It's a joke. We feel bad." Kenzie says, "Joke and feel bad in the same sentence? Weird." Dom says, "Why are you mad?" She says, "Don't get too comfortable being nice to other bitches because I can shut that down right now." Dom says, "The girl literally almost died in my house. I feel terrible." So he's like, "Let's get her a bag so she doesn't like sue us." Not funny, but funny. Um, it's probably what, the stripper pole? Yeah, I don't know. That is wild. I need to get into this. We maybe need to do a live on this situation. He says that she almost died in their house. Yo, didn't he get a pole? What do they want to do on the pole? Dance? I hate when she says that to him. Sweet and sour chicken nugget sauce is okay. Don't be hating. Farmero. I like the buffalo sauce. Hey, Anton, thought that you can come in. We're freaking out. Yeah, we are. We are hooked. Yeah, she was in the ICU. I didn't remember how bad it was. Yes, Mallory, this is the party where Mackenzie tried to push down the girl. Okay, Dom says that girl literally almost died in my house. I feel terrible. I feel I should do something, says Dom. The bag is a joke, but for real. Something type shit, she gonna be effed up forever because of that. Kenzie says, "So you think she wants an effing Louis Vuitton bag? Like, do you think money fixes everything? Are you slow?" Yeah, you can buy her one after you buy me one. Wait. Oh my gosh, I can't stand her. I cannot stand her. She's like, "Give me a Louis V bag for throwing this girl down the stairs." Dom says, "That was the joke, but okay, be salty. You kind of sound selfish. That girl is almost dead." Thank you, Dom. Look, it's not about being nice to other girls, he says. It's the fact that the girl almost died. And I feel I should do something. Like, bruh, if like some random dude almost died in my house, I'd def give that MF as much bud or sneakers as I can when he's out. Cause they brain finna be effed up. That's the last thing going through my head. She is in the ICU. I feel bad. Yeah, haven't done a live on this situation. Yeah, Farmero, you should email me. Um, she's so mean. Yeah, Melanie, tell her. Are you slow, Mackenzie? Yeah, she's skanky AF. We know. She has zero empathy. Kenzie says, "Or you could just like pay for her medical bills, or like I said earlier, we're going to buy her a shit ton of crystals, but of course, all you care about is money." Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Um, like, why would you buy her a $1,000 bag when you can just help with medical bills? Me and Grace are coming soon. He says that's still about money. If it's the gesture, not the bag. I didn't mean to even get a bag. She says that crystals aren't money. Oh, I have to sneeze. Hold on. I don't want to sneeze in your guys' ear because I feel like that is not manners. Have your manners, please. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. She says crystals aren't money. He says that's just a reference. They cost money. Medical bills, too. I didn't mean I was actually going to get her a bag. Told you that 3 times. Don't come for real like you're being selfish. He's like, don't come over, you're being a selfish home. Dom says, she's almost dead. You have everything in the world compared to her. We need to get into it, Valerie. Hey, Shanta. Oh, wow. That is crazy. Fundamental. She's disgusting. She is disgusting. Yeah, email me. Why is he still with her? I ask myself this every time we read the text. Every single time. That is crazy. Wow. She's almost said you have everything in the world compared to her. Kenzie says, the F? Nah. Grace already on the way. Dom says, nah. I'm out. She says, I don't care. Answer now. He says, come then. She says, okay, cool. He says, just don't be starting shit. She says, we need to talk. When Grace leaves. Since it's like this. Dom says, really, about what? It's like, for real, some shit about our relationship because I said Kendall doesn't deserve something nice. I'm not talking to you because that's just crazy AF. Because he says, you are talking to me. He questions her message. He says, tell me exactly what it's about or I'm not talking to you about it. He says, with all that going on, I'm not trying to argue with you about some bullshit. If you don't get it, then I'm not going to keep on explaining. I guess. Like, I'm stressed out. Chill on me. And he says, Joe left Impractical Jokers. Kenzie says, WTF. I don't know what he means by that. Tom says, did you use scissors to pick out the bong? She says, maybe. I don't know. Dom says, it's cool. Just don't do it next time. He says, when are you coming? She says, I'm here. He says, okay, let me make sure it's unlocked. Someone left the day fast charger. Kenzie says, I know, good. Karma from my birthday. He says, LOL. I was thinking it's not like some rando though, like Nat or one of her friends, but yeah, I'll take that anyway. Someone did take your shit and no one was there. Kenzie says, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dom says, whose shoes at my house? And it's 9:28 p.m. She says, Karina. He says, 2 pairs, I think. Let me check again. She says, send pic. He said, never mind, just Karina's. They're gross AF. Kenzie says, Lexi's texting me asking what happened. Dom said, what videos do you have from New Year's? Oh, so it was on New Year's when she pushed that girl down, allegedly. Why does she not get in trouble for pushing someone? All the empathy shown between Nom and MS, I know. Oh, thank you for the super sticker. What is that? What country, what or currency is that? Oh, Swedish? That's awesome. Am I right? Thank you. I wish I could pronounce that. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Thank you. Kenzie definitely is psychopath. No feelings, no remorse, and wears masks. Yep. He says, what videos do you have from New Year's? Send them. Lexi? She says, why? And yes. Dom says, probably heard from Morgan. She says, oh, true. She said, did you see the GoFundMe? Wow. They started. Are you? That's cool. That's awesome. There was a GoFundMe for her. It was that bad. She was almost dead. Oh my gosh. I can't. She says, you see the GoFundMe? And she sends a link. Kenzie says, honestly, you're being weird AF for being like that at 10:51 p.m. Like there's going to keep being problems if that's how you act. That honestly disgusted me. Dom says, I ain't gonna out my name on it either if I do. I'm gonna just be anonymous, not trying to be on that. Kenzie says, I would happily write your name on something I did, but I guess I wouldn't now. Then say that, she says. Don't talk to me, for real. Figure your shit out. Dom says, you hung up on me ASAP. Why would I put my name on it? Like, chill. Kenzie says, babe, the next morning at 6:45 a.m. I need to get Karina's shoes. He says, when? She says, never mind. There's a rumor that there's a video of her falling. And then Kenzie sends a screenshot. Dom says, so sad. Kenzie says, I know. They're asking for footage on the camera. I'm not going to give it. I know I have it. I just have to look for it. I heard a Modelo open and no. Bring me one. The link may give you details. I can't click on the link here. I would have to look it up. I wonder why maybe there wasn't enough proof to arrest Kenzie or charge her for that. Because I mean, the detectives are looking through these text messages. Remember, these are text messages from the evidence package, the ones that they felt critical for the case to be involved, the text messages. So that's crazy. I know I have the video though. I might even have it in this package. There's a lot still that I haven't gone through. Okay. Let's see. She says, I'm not going to give it. Dom says, what camera? I would just tell him there's no cameras. Kenzie said, I told her there was cameras. People know that there's cameras. If I lied about that and they found out about it, it would just not be good and there's nothing to hide. Does the footage save? Dom says, I would just say there's only one camera and it wasn't anywhere near it. Kenzie says, well, I just got off the phone with Kendall's cousin. Dom said, because really only camera recording was from my room. Kenzie says, I told her there was one in the kitchen and one in the hallway. I'm going to just tell her we only had two of them armed, or that you did. Dom says, just tell him that the cameras fell and only one was recording. And it's from the back bedroom where no one would go. I would do more. I don't know. Because for real, who knows what they're going to try and get that out of me. I feel like people are going to try to blame me. That's what Dom said. Kenzie says, I will tell her that the cameras kept falling. Dom says, I would just tell her that they're all fell, so only one was recording. Yeah, check. I have no videos from the kitchen camera. Kenzie said she's going to ask for the footage of them falling. Dom says, I only have footage from my bedroom and a little from my dining room. Just check them all. I can check basement and camera. Hold up. Kenzie says, look at them. He says, it didn't catch anything. I'll show you. I'm going to ask my mom if I should be sending the video or talking to anyone. Kenzie says, okay, please. Dom says, I'll let you know what's good after I talk to her. Kenzie says, okay. And then at 11:12 a.m., she's sending a bunch of screenshots of text messages. I'm not going to text her. Dom says, yeah, I'm going to ask my mom. Remember, Dom, Miss Russo is a lawyer. We're going to really need to get into this. Okay. I think I have it. I'll have to look for it. Maybe tomorrow night. Hey, Julie, good to see you. Hey, Nico's mommy. I'm shocked they didn't sue the homeowner. I'm shook. Kenzie will be a monster when she gets out. Keep her ass locked up in the pen. She's a criminal. We know what you did last summer. She's such a delinquent. If she really pushed her, that is terrible. She's not going to get out of jail. They just fell. I know that's a dumbass excuse. They just fell. Well, that's probably true. I mean, I guess if you don't put them up right, pause. But like, mine don't fall. I have cameras all over. Dom says, yeah, I'm going to ask my mom. I wouldn't communicate with anyone. That's what my mom is saying. No pictures, no nothing to them at all. And don't talk to them or anyone else. I would just tell everyone you're done getting involved. Kenzie said, say that. And then she sends more screenshots. Dom says, just don't communicate. She says, it's just going to look bad. Dom says, or say that you're done communicating. Who cares? For real, everything you say is probably just going to incriminate me. Like, we shouldn't have confirmed cameras. Yep, homeowners could be liable for a fall. I knew they were trying to F me. They're gonna try and sue my mom or me. So scummy, honestly. They doing this through all that going on. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I hope you didn't say anything else that could incriminate me. Kenzie says, I didn't say anything bad except the cameras. Dom says, don't say anything else. Kenzie said, I'm not. Kenzie says, what I screenshot last. What if she texts me again? But this looks bad for real. Dom says, okay, you're going to have to show me everything you texted to anyone. She says, okay, LOL. Dom says, they're suing my mom. Oh, we went to the next day. Wait, what the? Were we on this? We're on the 3rd. I didn't know if I told you guys that or not. Anyways, it's the 3rd. He says, they're suing my mom, delete snaps and shit. She says, they are? How? How do we know? She sends a screenshot, 2 screenshots. Dom says there's no other reason they would be doing this. They want money. They're starting a GoFundMe and suing my mom, like WTF. Kenzie says, I'm going to keep the chat with Marina saved until you read it because I don't know what we need and what we don't. Dom says, delete anything admitting to what happened. Okay, wait, you guys. So why does these text messages, it's making it sound like it wasn't Kenzie and they know what happened or it was somebody else. Because Dom wouldn't be so worried about being incriminated if it was Kenzie. Well, I get the liable part, but like, I don't know. I feel like there's something else going on here. Yeah, his mom owned the house. Yes, thank you, Julie. Please do hit the like button for your girl. And then maybe I'll sing to you guys some more. Yep, the homeowner is responsible. Ruh-roh. That's right. I wonder if it's because of his mom being a lawyer. Why wouldn't they sue a bunch of underage girls as adults at an adult's house drinking? Oh, yeah, because Dom is older. Okay, so he says, delete anything admitting what happened. She says, I will. He says, make sure anyone that was there, the we don't trust about to talk about it, like Kendra and shit. You can FaceTime me if you want, says Kenzie. I'm waiting for my lash appointment. Dom says, I'm at Wingstop with Blair and Astral World Hoodie. Kenzie says, where is that? I'm right by one. Dom says, I'll FaceTime you in a little. He says, Parma. She says, in Brooklyn. Bro, where you at? He says, maybe I'm by Brooklyn. Hold up. Then she sends a screenshot of a car. Dom sends an attachment. Kenzie said, is that it? LMAO. Dom says, no, that's a different one. I'm next to Piata. Kenzie says, I'm 12 minutes from you. Dom says, I wish that'd be lit. Kenzie said, my friend works there. Dom says, I just go chill with you. Then she sends an attachment. Dom says, Piata? She said, yes, I think so. He says, yeah, you're right around the corner. I wish I knew you'd be over here. I would have told him to go to that one. Kenzie says, tell him to come. He says, we're waiting for food. She says, gay. She said, Faith needs bud. Dom says, one sec. Then she says at 5:21, babe, want to go to Luca's? Dom says, we can go later. I got sales. She says, when, babe? The F? Tell me what time we're going now. He says, I'm sick again at 10:40 p.m. She sends a picture of her eyelashes. And then another selfie doing a duck face. He says, "Again?" She says, "Nah." And then it jumps to the next morning at 6:43. There's screenshots. She's sending screenshots of messages. She says, "Do you wanna come lay with me? My eyes hurt real bad." Oh, so she's the lashes, remember? She wasn't supposed to get them. He says, "You didn't go to school?" She says, "I just left and went home. My eyes hurt and I'm super tired and stressed." Dom says, "I would, but I'm late AF because I spilled egg yolk on my clothes. Pretty salty. It was a pair of Subies too." She says, "No way. WTF. Does an egg stain?" He says, "Yeah, washing them right now." "I don't know, but I have to get it out because it's like thick. So either way, gotta wash them." She says, "That's effed. I'm hungry." Dom says, "Me too. I didn't even eat my food because I was cleaning my clothes off." And then she sends a picture of herself wearing like a mask. It's like one of those face masks, and then her eyes are the only thing you can see. He says, "Then I just ended up throwing them in the washer." He says, "Babe, you just need to take a break from the lashes so you can get them when you really want to have them on." She says, "Will you get me Starbucks if you're not gonna come cuddle me then, babe?" He says, "Babe, I'm so behind already and I'm literally still washing egg yolk at my jeans. I'm not trying to be another hour late to all my people." She says, "Okay, babe." He says, "What should I do? I just put on something and put the other clothes back on later or just get a whole new fit right now?" She says, "Up to you." She says, "I'm wearing a tracksuit if you want to twin with me." And Marina and Maddie texted me the pics. Dom said, "What pics?" He says, "I can wear my polo tracksuit." She said, "A picture of the stairs." Dom says, "It's white and black and red though." She sends a picture of herself again, a selfie. Dom says, "Karina has a picture of the stairs." Kenzie says, "The F? They're asking me for it." Dom says, "Oh, well, yeah, just don't answer or say why." I don't know, for real, better just not to answer. And don't tell me to read when you don't have proper grammar. Could you please make me some tea with ginger and stuff? Kenzie says, I'm in bed about to sleep. I guess when I see you, babe. Get me Starbucks, she says. He says, "Damn, okay." And then she's sending a map, food. Dom says they should okay, so then it goes to the next morning on the 5th at 4:45 a.m., 4:22 a.m. He says they should tax the orphans. Kenzie says, "Kendra just gave me mad attitude." And then she says, "Luca today at 10:34. We need to call and make sure it's open." Dom said, "Get let I think he meant bet. Bet, let me see what's all going on." She said, "Let me know. I need Lucas. I need it. I need it." He says, "Not a better restaurant, it seems like." She says, "There isn't. Like for real. Maybe Hyde Park, but that's always closed." Dom says, "Yeah, do you know why?" She says, "Nope." She said, "Karina texted me again about the stairs." Dom says, "Ew, WTF. You want to go to Aurora Farms?" He says at 2:42. She says, "Yes." She said, "The cops want to talk to me." Why didn't I talk about this before? I know other people have made videos, but they're not me. So we need to do one. Yeah, she has little worms in her lashes. I'm a little late, but she's a product of her nature. Yeah. Vanjie says her stupid lashes cover her whole face. They're a joke. Period. Okay, let's see. So the cops want to talk to her. Ruh-roh. Not me telling the truth. Ruh-roh. She's falling apart and he could care less. I love it. She says, "The cops want to talk to me." Dom said, "Who said that?" Kenzie says, "They left my parents a voicemail." Dom says, "Tell the cops you'll speak with your lawyer first and they can talk to your lawyer." Kenzie says, "They're going to find out what they want to talk about, then decide if we need a lawyer or not. Dom questions her message. He says, "You don't have to say a single word to the cops, babe. You are not getting arrested. You are not being prosecuted. Literally, nothing is happening. Your Miranda rights. It says anything you say or do will be used against you. So right now, you didn't say it or anything. So don't say anything or do anything because it will be used against you." There's typos there. Sorry. She says, "Can we go to Luca today?" He said, "Is it even open?" She said, "Look." Dom says, "How? It said it was open yesterday and it wasn't. And they're not open till 5, so we can't even call. Let me know what you want to do. I was thinking we shop at Aurora's and then a little and then go out there. We'd have to see what restaurants though. We usually go to this Mad Jack's over there that's pretty good." He says, "About a shower, let me know what you want to do." She says, "I'm down to go at 3:03 p.m." She says, "Let me get these lashes off." She's a dumbass. She pays like $400 for her lashes, and then she's like, "Let me get these off." Dom says, "Let me check when it's open and all of that." Dom said, "My mom said don't talk to them. And if they keep bugging, she will be there when you do, because you have the right to counsel. And it's not a crime, so they have no reason or right to do anything. Check stores and make sure you want to go to Aurora too, because I don't want you to get mad that I'm just shopping for me. And I'd really want to go to Nike Polo Finish Line, Calvin Klein, maybe Adidas and Banana Republic or something." And then Kenzie sends, I don't know what that's a picture of. It looks like a jar. He says, "Are those real eyelashes?" Oh, she set her eyelashes down somewhere. He says, "Are those real eyelashes connected?" Kenzie says, "Yes." Dom says, "My poor babe. Please just leave them off for a while." Kenzie said, "Sad face." Dom says, "Babe, what do your nail and lash people use to book appointments? Do they have their own website or use an app or something?" She says, "Both." "I'm going to shower. Then do you want to go out to eat?" He says, "Yeah, where do you want to go?" She says, "Luca at 5:21 p.m." He says, "Make sure they're open." Kenzie said, "I literally just said I'm about to shower. Can you?" She says, "I'm out." "Did you even check?" He said, "No, I didn't even see the text, babe. I've been doing shit." Kenzie says, "How did you not see the text? I sent it 1 second after you sent the other text." Dom says, "Probably because you sent it in 1 second. Yeah, it's opened." Kenzie says, "Did you call?" Question mark, question mark, times 5 more question marks. He says, "Yeah, it's open." She says, "Do you want to go now?" He says, "Yeah, can you drive? Let me change real quick so I'm wearing something nice. Could we sell Cameron an eighth before we go?" Kenzie says, "Who?" Dom says his last name. Dom says, "I already told her I wouldn't. I would just dip." Kenzie says, "I don't care. It's up to you." Dom says, "Word. We get her on the way." He says, "What are you wearing?" She says, "I'm peeing." And she sends a picture of herself. Well, her clothes. She says, "I'm peeing. Hold on." Kenzie said, "I just said that." Oh, wait. It jumps to the next day. She said, "I just said that at 6:04 p.m." And then it jumps to the 6th at 8:03. And she says, "I'm talking to the cops right now." I'm shook. I really need to do this. I used to wear I wore lashes for 4 years straight, and then I developed a really bad reaction. It was really bad. Story time for later. "Hey, I'm crying. You better get your little butt over here." I never understood the broom lashes. Yeah, it's a I don't know. Chuck, hey, Chuck's granddaughter. I thought we were all AI the other night. You guys, yeah. Forget the other night. I had so much fun. You guys are the best. Cringy's moms. Definitely make a video. Okay, okay. Um, okay, she says, "Talking to the cops right now. They called me at school." Dom says, "No. Tell them you're going to talk to your lawyer first. You have the right to counsel." Kenzie said, "It's not bad. He's saying it's not bad." Dom says, "You don't have to talk to them about anything. It doesn't matter. They're lying. You know they're liars. Please don't say anything to them. Don't even say anything and record. They should at least have your parents there before they talk to you. They're gross and unprofessional." Kenzie says, "My mom's on the phone recording." Dom says, "Please don't say or admit anything." You shouldn't even say, yeah, word to them, say a word to them until my mom is supervising. Just don't talk to them. You don't have to. Kenzie said, they're asking for your number. I'm not going to give it. Should I give your mom's? What the F do I say? OMG. Dom says, why are you talking to them? With a bunch of exclamation and question marks. She says, Dom, shut the F up. Dom says, so effing stupid if you don't talk to them. They can't ask for anything. You're going to get my mom sued and F up my probation. She says, bruh. Dom says, you're effing us. Kenzie says, you're making yourself look bad. The cops don't care about the party. They only want to know about the fall. Dom says, it doesn't matter. Don't talk to them. Then I can't look bad. I don't give an F. You're making me look bad. You're effing us over. Kenzie says, no, I'm not, N-word. Dom says, then why are you talking to the cops? That's literally the dumbest thing you can do. Don't tell them anything. If you do, I'm going to be so mad. Neither you or your mom tell him anything. Kenzie says, I didn't tell him anything. Don't be mean to me, the F. I'm not dumb. Dom says, you're talking to the cops. So yes, you're effing dumb. And you're effing up. That's the first thing me and my mom said to never do. Unless the lawyer is present. Like, question mark. Kenzie said, my mom is on the phone. He's saying I'm not in trouble, stupid. Dom says, okay. And she doesn't have to talk on the phone. Dom says, she doesn't have to talk to them. So you don't talk to them. Kenzie said, he's saying it's an accidental fall. Dom said, I'm for real mad AF. Stop talking to them. You're going to make me tweak. Y'all effing us over right now. I'm so pissed. Couldn't listen to the one thing I told you not to do. Kenzie says, do I have to block you? Dom says, like, how can I trust y'all when you finna just talk to the cops? No, you got to just stop talking to the cops and everything will be fine. You're talking to the cops isn't doing anything for anyone. Not for me. Not for you. Kenzie said in caps, my mom is recording. Dom said, not for Kendall. Kenzie said, read, idiot. Dom said, not for anyone. Kenzie said, this is about me. Dom says, I don't care. Kenzie says, we have issues. Dom says, she doesn't have to. Kenzie says, stop teasing me. Dom said, teasing you? Y'all so dumb for talking to the cops. So dumb. Literally the only thing you didn't have to do. I'm honestly so mad. You really can keep the G code. You really can't keep the G code, like WTF. He says, send me the call when you're done. Are they still talking? Kenzie said, he's on the phone with Emily. And then she sends a screenshot. Dom said, the cops, how did they get her number? Dom says, send the call. And then he says, no, I'm not making it any worse. The cops are lying to you. My mom has been a lawyer for 20 years. She knows what she's talking about. Kenzie says, bruh, you need to stop being dumb. Get your shit together and talk to your mom. Dom says, I literally can't trust you. Dom says, I was next to her when I was calling you earlier. She said not to talk to them unless she's there. They literally talked to you at school. So a lawyer and your parents wasn't there. So they can't get info. Like pretty simple. So they can get info. Like pretty simple. Kenzie said, he literally said he can't do shit with any of the info because my mom wasn't present. And if he is going to press charges, I would be at the police station. Like, goddamn. I don't care if you don't trust me. Then don't. Like, damn. Dom says, Kenzie, you know nothing about any of this. When I tell you don't talk to the cops, you don't talk to them. Kenzie sends a screenshot of a long message. He says, what if it was something bigger? Dom says, no face, no case, no talk, no walk. Who pushed the girl? Was it Kenzie or was it Dom? Dom's worried because of his house, but and his probation, but Kenzie doesn't seem like she's worried at all. And if she was guilty, wouldn't she be worried? Yeah, allegedly. I have a Mackenzie playlist. Thank you, Christine. 33070 for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Shout out to you. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. Cops lie all the time. Yeah, I don't talk to the police. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. They are both so dumb. Lashes are fine. It's just the broom lashes. You mean Kenzie's lashes with mites in them? Cringy was there by the girl the kids were saying. She was probably drunk and fell. Robert says it was Kenzie that pushed her. But nothing, I mean, they didn't charge her or anything, so maybe there wasn't enough information. I wouldn't be surprised, though. How's Dom getting away with all the rugs on probation? I have no idea. He says, no face, no case, no talk, no walk. Pretty simple. Nothing to look bad about if nothing is said. Dom says, she probably just said some op shit. That's why she doesn't have recording. Kenzie said, if your mom is calling and things, I did the right thing, then I'm going to believe her. Stop texting me. She says, calm. Dom says, we tell you not to talk to the cops, and you talk to the cops. I can't trust you. Kenzie says, I just talked to your mom. Dom says, but good at least. It's not bad. How long till you're here? Kenzie says, soon. 10 minutes. And then she sends a picture of her eye. It looks like it's infected. Ew. She says, here. She says, babe, be low key for a while. He says, why's that? Is it because of something the cop said? And then he sends question marks. She says, no. He says, are you playing Fortnite? She said, yes. He said, grinding. Kenzie said, join. Me and Nat. Dom says, me and Blair brought to run 2K. Maybe after. Kenzie says, babe, are you out? He says, what do you mean out? My furniture comes tomorrow. Kenzie says, I want Mally's. Dom says, that sounds good. Babe, the cops want you to take a picture of the stairs. Can you call them with your mom at least so you don't look bad? I know you don't care, but it's nothing incriminating. That's what Kenzie says at 6:18 p.m. Dom says, get his number. My mom will call him. Kenzie says, okay, bet. He gave me his card. And he sends a picture of the card. Dom says, do you want chicken wings? I made some Zaza. She says, I'm about to sleep. Send a pic. Dom says, I got you when they done. And then at the next morning at 9:47 p.m., he says, FaceTime. Will has only been playing love songs. Kenzie says, why? Dom says, he's playing Marvin's Room right now. I don't know. That's what we get. It's so funny. Drake and shit, he got me dead. Kenzie said, LMFAO. I just beefed with Hannah hard AF. I just removed her comment because of Kendall shit. Dom says, you should post that thing of the Down syndrome girl on TikTok. She'll know. Kenzie says, nah, I'm going to just keep the high road. Dom says, I feel it. He says, what are you doing? She says, nothing right now. Peeing. She says, LOL. I'll FaceTime you when I'm in my room. And she says, Fort. Or want to go shopping? He says, shopping? I'm with Will right now. Want to show you couches. Kenzie says, oh, where are you? Show me. She says, did you guys call? Please get it handled. It's stressing me out at 5:24 p.m., she says. Dom says, I don't know. I'll ask her. He says, what are you doing right now? She said, I'm chilling. Dom says, want to go to the mall? She says, right now? He says, yeah, I'm free right now. Or we can go in a little. And then Kenzie sends a picture of a purse. Kenzie said, day one of not having this bag. Dom said, this is not going to be a thing. Oh, now it's the next day. At 7:15, she sends a picture of a person says that. And Dom says, this is not going to be a thing. And then I can't see those messages. There's some that are redacted. Wait, okay, that's weird. I don't know why they're redacted. I don't know if they did that or what, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 messages that are redacted. From the 7th. And then on the 7th at 7:22 p.m., Dom says, "You're a red flag." I wonder if they were audio messages and not redactions. Because I think they would be like blacked out maybe. Dom was on probation. How did they not get her in trouble? I need to dig into that. You guys better be here if I do. Kenzie's soul's infected. He says, "You're a red flag." She says, "No, I'm a Leo." He says, "Maybe you should just go lesbian." Kenzie says, "Why?" Dom says, "No reason. I just thought it was funny." Kenzie says, "So gay." Dom says, "Give me a baby first." Okay, that was a weird comment. And what is he saying? How could he want a baby with her? What the actual hell, you guys? Hey, Callista. I think cops wanted Dom as a criminal informant. Wow. I can't believe he said that. He says, "Give me a baby first." He says, "Lizzo eats Oreos with mustard on them." Kenzie says, "WTF? What?" And then she sends a picture of a bag again on the 8th at 9:08 a.m. She says, "Day 2." Dom says, "Are you off work yet? I don't know how much that bag cost or where to get it. Help me out. Maybe you'll get it." She says, "Are you coming to our family Christmas at my aunt's?" She says, "I'm off." Dom said, "When is it?" She said, 3. Dom says, "Want to play Fortnite?" She says, "Yes, LOL." She says, "We have to take COVID test." He says, "Okay, should I just not go?" "I'll probably just not go. Then I'm only coming for you. And if you're going to be like that, then I'll guess I'll not just go." She said, "What?" Question mark, question mark. More question marks. She says, "Are you coming? Yes or no?" He says, "When do we have to leave?" She says, 2:45 maybe. He says, "Yeah, let me get dressed and eat breakfast." He says, "Do you have both POFs?" Oh, he means pods. "Do you have both pods?" She says, "Okay, and one." She said, "Wait, yes. It's empty though." She sends a picture. He says, "No, my luster." "You don't have the luster?" She says, "I have it. Only one of them though." And she sends a pic. He says, "Okay, it's not empty, right?" She says, "Nope." He says, "What should I wear? Jeans or a polo tracksuit?" And then she says, "Where you at 2:40?" She says, "Polo." He says, "About to be on the way right now." She said, "Come." She said, "On the phone with Kristen." Dom says, "I'm here. Do you want to take my car? Because it's already almost warmed up." She said, "What?" He says, "My car is warm. Do you want to take my car so we don't freeze?" She says, "Come now." COVID test. He says, "On Fort." Oh, wait. COVID test. And that was at 2:51 p.m. And then it jumps to the 9th. And he says, "On Fort." She says, "I'm sleepy." He said, "That's fine. Good night, babe. Love you. Text me tomorrow." And then she sends a picture of herself. She says, "I love you." He says, "Cute." Okay, and then it jumps to the next morning on the 10th at 10:08 a.m. She said, "Kendall is awake and out of the hospital, going into physical therapy." Holy crap. There must have been a really bad fall, like, 'cause she was almost dead. Yeah, we did read some stuff about his probation, I just can't remember everything. He was a big dealer. Ew, no, I can't imagine her pregnant. Mhm. Okay. They both messed up. Okay, Kenzie says, "Going into physical therapy." Dom says, "That's good AF." Is she taking is she talking to anyone? Kenzie says, "I don't know." Dom said, "See, that was quick. 10 days and she's already out." Bradbury said, 3 weeks, she'll be totally fine." Kenzie said, yeah, they're trying to get whoever picked her up out of the house in trouble. Wait, they're trying to get whoever picked her up out of the house in trouble. And Dom says it was Davion. Oh my God, you guys. So, okay, let's just say something crazy. Like, what if this is the reason for the crash? Am I thinking too much into it? Like, too much into it, right? I'm getting crazy here with this theory. My opinion, allegedly. What if something related to this came about when Kenzie decided to drive all them into the wall at 100 miles per hour? And that's why she unalived everyone. Maybe they were threatening her. I don't think so. No. Okay. But Davion was involved in this. I don't know. Just a theory. Like, Mel, you don't remember about the amount of blood there was from the fall? Yeah, it could have caused more of a fight than that. No, I'm not saying Davion helped her. I'm saying, what if Davion or Dom was like, we're going to tell the truth or something? I mean, we don't know. We're never going to know what happened in that car, but something happened. She murdered them. The crash was months later. Yeah, it was 6 months later, 7 months later. Davion stayed back and helped her. Head wounds have massive blood. I believe Davion was trying to help her. Yeah, I know, you guys. It is what it is. Your girl got to do what your girl's got to do. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. Supposedly, she was mad Davion was going to stay at Dom's the night of the wreck. Have a lot more to research. Yeah, I do. Maybe Davion saw her push the girl. Thank you, Rebecca. You never know. Davion saved the girl's life, I heard. Okay. And then Mackenzie takes his. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah, YouTube censors a lot and stuff, you guys. So ads are a great way to support the channel. So I'm sorry. I know some of you hate them. I say this with loving words and with 3 kisses. Get over it. I'm sorry. Anyways, okay. I'll sing to you this weekend if you want. Make it up to you. Is that girl is Davion carried the girl out of the house. He was helping Dom and Kenzie. Okay, let's continue. He said it was Davion. Kenzie said, just him? Dom said, yeah, this is exactly what happened. After everyone was shaking her, I pulled her back forward and straight because they literally had her head leaning back. Then Davion picked her up and brought her up the stairs. Remember, he had blood on him. Kenzie sends a screenshot. Dom says, dude, every famous person ends up being a full-blown rug addict. For real. Kenzie said, it's so sad and scary. So they stopped talking about it. I wonder if they talked on the phone or something. Dom says, but yeah, thinking of him in a full house. Wait, thinking of him in all the Full House episodes being a rug addict is crazy. Kenzie said, sad AF. She sends another attachment. Hey, Cantarella. I forgot to say hi. Sorry. Dom says, Cedar Point, WTF. He said, I know cashless was coming. Kenzie said, so thank you. Oh, she means so gay. I'm confused with her typos. Dom says, tell her this is why you should have got crypto at 4:01 p.m. Kenzie says, I'm hungry, babe. He says, want to go get some gas when I'm back from Jared's? She said, yeah, I'm with Nat and Hope. She said, Don's Lighthouse. Dom said, I bet. Kenzie said, or someone gas. Send ideas. She sends Yelp for restaurants. He says, I'll look, let me see. She sends more places to eat and pictures of food. She says, let me know. He said, Kenzie says, Nat wants snow crab. What one do you like better? Because I'm down for both. And she sends question marks. And then she's sending more restaurants. She said, Nat just wants broke people shit, so we have to go there. She said, good job answering. Like the F. She says, do I need to pull up right now? 5 seconds to call me back, or we're going to have issues. Dom said, just text me at 4:43 p.m. She said, you have 5 seconds to call me back or we're done. Dom says, yeah, I'll have whatever place. I don't care. Kenzie says, so you're not coming? Dom says, nah, you're acting crazy right now, babe. Kenzie says, I'm on the way to your house. You can be respectful to me or we're breaking up today. Make up your mind. Dom says, bruh, you do anything to my house, I'm actually have to get someone involved. Kenzie said, get someone involved. Dom said, you're being way more disrespectful to me. Kenzie says, LMFAO, I don't care. Dom says, think, babe. For real, just think. Kenzie said, I'll send you a pic of the stair. I'll send a pic of the stairs. Then if you're going to get someone involved. She's threatening him. Then Dom had something to do with it. Why would she be threatening that? They could fight that in court that he's liable because it was his house. So everybody was drinking and smoking and getting high. Yeah, they're children, but I mean, still, like, it is what it is. Or no? Do they ever make home cooked meals? Sorry, I was reading comments. No. Yeah, I need to look into that. Um, Kenzie says, I'll send a pic of the stairs then if you're going to get someone involved. She says, like, are you good? When you call or text, you answer. When I call or text, you answer. Dom says, we're breaking up. Wow. Kenzie says, honestly, I'd be on the way home if I was you right now. Dom says, you're not going to threaten me with shit like that. Kenzie said, because you're not going to do this shit around your friends. Dom said, that's way too crazy. What the F? You're just going to get my mom sued? Kenzie said, you literally threatened me first, buddy. She emphasizes her message. Quote unquote, get someone involved. She's basically copying Dom's message. She said, I would be on the way home if I was you, or we will break up. Dom said, I said, if you F some shit at my house, I'll have to get someone involved. There's still holes in my house from last time. Kenzie said, this is not how it works. You're not allowed to be shady, especially since you're a cheater and you're sneaky AF. Dom says, chill, for real. She says, then I'll have to send the picture of the stairs if you have to get someone involved. See how this game works? So do you want to try all of this again? I am disgusted. I think that fall was a more bigger deal than I think you guys think. I'm shook. Dom's mom was literally his favorite person. Wow, she's just threatening him, blackmail. Yeah. He says, bruh, you're the one trying to F up my house. Don't F up my house. Like for real, WTF. Kenzie said, or are you going to keep being a little PUSSY and not talk to your girlfriend acting like you're on a perk? So are we trying this again? Dom says, I'll talk to you when you respect me. I can't be with anyone ever, though, who will get police involved. Kenzie said, okay, I'm gonna just take some money from the cart box. I can't ever be with someone who puts their friends before me. Dom says, do whatever you want. Kenzie said, and who acts high on the phone? Dom says, I wasn't. Kenzie said, I'm going to. Dom said, he was showing me speakers and they were bumping loud AF. Kenzie said, I don't care, to be honest. Like 0%. You're on the way home though, right? She says at 4:51 p.m. And he says, went and grabbed my phone across the room, actually, because seen my screen light up. Kenzie says, you would be dumb for real. I wouldn't want to lose my girlfriend of three years. Dom says, yeah, I'm coming to my car. She said, you know. Dom said, nah, you tripping. I'm the realest person ever. No one ever keep it as 100 with me. You be tripping trying to be on that. Kenzie says, you're really not. You pick and choose when you want to. It's either all in or all out because we don't do this in between shit. Dom says, you tripping. You know I'm that guy. Kenzie says, nah, you pick and choose when you want to. You're not that guy today. Yesterday, you is not the same as you're right now. I'm going to Samurai for real. We need to talk because this isn't going to keep going on. When I text, you answer. When I call, you answer. Like I'm about to block someone that's not even texting me back. And I'm not a mini Kenzie. I'm just saying, like, I let alone not let someone talk to me like this. Like, Dom deals with so much shit from her. I can't even believe it. I never knew this was the situation with them like this. If I hadn't read through all these pages of text messages, I would have just gone with a perspective and whatever notions in my head and opinions I have made up about her regarding just what stuff we have covered. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. She's insane and she's right where she belongs. Thanks, allegedly. Says this chat is the best. Who the F did this girl think she was? I know, PG's mama. She's disgusting. Thank you, allegedly, for being here. She reminds me of an ex I grew up with. Yeah, we are a big happy family here. She's a horror story. I don't know why Dom didn't walk away from this. I think that he was just really scared of her. Look at how she's threatening to blackmail him. What? Thank you, Anton. It's got to be about the stair incident, and that's the only reason she would try to take all of them out. Maybe Davion was going to tell the truth or something. Or maybe Dom, they were fighting, and maybe Dom was like, we're going to tell the truth about you or something. I don't know. That's just, I have a feeling. I don't know why. Because we've been sitting here for days, years. I've heard about this case for a while, and I never really understood, like, why would she want to do that? Take both of them out in that manner. 100 miles per hour into a brick wall. Check out the Mackenzie playlist if you haven't. And quit hating on me. Some people in the comments are like, "Oh my god, I can't hear you," because when I first started my channel and covered Kenzie, I didn't have like the best mic. So just get through it, babes. I highly doubt it had anything to do with the crash, but I guess you never know. Yeah, and we'll never know now. Okay. Let's get back to them. He says, Kenzie, when you call me on some bullshit, I'm not going to talk to you. Kenzie says, if you're that deaf, then keep your phone on you, bruh. Dom says, and if you're not answering for if I'm not answering for 5 minutes, you got to chill. Kenzie says, it's on you 24/7 when you're with me. Dom says, I don't do that to you. Kenzie says, so why is it not when you're with your friends? Because I answer LMFAO. Like, Dom says, nah, it goes both ways. You see me ignore hella people with you too. Kenzie says, you're not allowed to ignore me. Are you dumb? Like, I know you didn't text me that. Like, are you for real? You better figure this out. This is a problem. Dom says, I don't ignore you. I was saying I ignore hella people when I'm chilling with you. So we're not even going to eat. You just wanted me to pay for you? Because now you got bread from the cart stack, right? Kenzie says, you're actually slow as shit. Don't even text me. Like, are you for real? Lame AF. Leave how to text your girl better. Such a shame. Learn how to text your girl better. Dom says, I mean, you're going to Samurai now and making me go home. Like, that's just kind of crazy. You wanted me to come home. Should I even go home? Wait, what? That's what Dom said. And Kenzie says, oh, so you didn't even leave? You lied about that? Dom says, I'm in my car. Kenzie says, I thought you were walking to your car 10 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Dom says, why are you trying to make it like that now? Don't change the subject. Kenzie said, I'm not. Why would you come now? You were just being a DICK and you're 40 minutes away. So why would we wait 40 minutes for you just to come back? Dom said, you called me crazy. Talking crazy. Kenzie said, what? Dom says, you called me talking all crazy first. Kenzie says, because you don't know how to answer the phone. Are we going over this again? And this is on the 10th at 5:03 p.m. Dom says, whatever. Kenzie says, you need to keep your phone on you if you're that bad at replying. Like WTF. Dom says, go out to eat, I guess. Kenzie says, I wanted to watch Euphoria with you tonight, but F that. Dom says, you're being a control freak. Like, go do your thing and I'm gonna go do mine. We'll talk later. Kenzie said, nah, I'm cool. Just keep ignoring me. You're so good at that. Dom says, I'm gonna go check how long it took me to answer you. I missed one call, so it took 2 calls for me to answer. Why are you even mad? Look, just talk to me later. And then at 6:36 p.m., she says, get me Sheets hot cocoa on the way home. She says, is this a joke or something? Like, are you taking long to reply as a joke? Because I wouldn't do that literally 3 hours later after you just did the same shit. Dom says, I'm doing something right now, then I'll go get it. I won't be long. Kenzie says, it would be dumb AF. Oh, so did you see? Dom says, you tripping. Kenzie says, you're just ignoring. Again? Like, what's so important right now? What are you doing that's important AF? Dom says, no, I just opened my phone to text you and you were texting. Kenzie says, yeah, I'm sure. I'm not believing that, for real. Dom says, I just pulled in from somewhere and I had to unlock a box out of my trunk, then unlock my house. Look, let me do my thing and I'll get you a hot chocolate. You're tripping, for real. Kenzie says, when? At 7:22 p.m. He says, I'm about to go get sheets. And that was at, 7:22. And then she says, what are you doing at 10 o'clock at night? She says, Nuggum. He says, just played some Splitgate with Blair, about to eat some pizza. I don't know what that is. Maybe a game, obviously. Dom says, what's up with you, babe? She says, they just left. Dom says, were y'all just painting all that time? Kenzie says, yes, I'm done now. Dom says, what all you paint? Kenzie said, next time. Okay, wait, he said, what did you all paint? And that was at 10:31 p.m. And then it jumps to the next day. Despicable. He has to explain his every moves. Thank you, 𝐿𝐿. I look forward to your lives every night. Thank you for being here. Who sent me a super? Oh, thank you, KB, for the Modelos. Thanks for your hard work, Melly. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the super chats. It really helps. It's a great way to support. She's shameless. She's so controlling. Okay, she says, next time you go to Jared's, text me so me and Kendra can come. This is at 10:47 a.m. He said, it depends what we're doing, but for sure. Then she says, want to get food? Jumps to 3:34 p.m. She said, from one of those places. She says, question mark. And then she starts sending all these links for food. He says, yeah, when? And then she's sending more Yelp links. She said, right now. He says, I'm in Cleveland right now. And then he says, want to go for dinner? She says, I want to go right now. Then watch Euphoria. Dom says, babe, I literally haven't even showered. I've had so many plays and my mom had me take her to the pet store because of her stomach. Kenzie said, is she okay? Dom says, I need to at least get back and shower for real. Kenzie said, I guess I'll just go get Shinto now. Dom says, she's in hella pain. Kenzie said, is she home? Dom said, I don't know. I'm in Cleveland. Kenzie said, what should I eat since you're just in Cleveland? Question mark. Never mind. Dom says, ew. She says, okay. He says, I bought you a little pink laser. He says, about to come tomorrow. She says, no way. He said, yeah, I think it was only $30. She said, no way. He said, I was going to get you a straight stun GUN. She said, I'm excited. She says, I'm going to tase you. He said, then you can shoot from like 15 feet. She said, for real? She said, why didn't you? He said, nah, you don't got to tase me. It was like 350. She said, aw. She said, I am. Dom says, and I ordered other shit that I needed because I don't know what's going on with the $600 IRS thing or what that all applies to. Kenzie said at 4:10 p.m. He may have just been close, but I feel like AJ tried to shoulder check me in the hallway today. Dom says, keep trying to keep my online spending low. I'll order it another time. Dom says, AJ is gross. He's probably just being dumb though. Kenzie said he was so close to shoulder checking the shit out of me. I don't know if he was trying to do it on purpose. Dom says, I don't know. He might not F with us though, because he unfollowed me. Kenzie said, and me. Dom said, yeah, weird. He says, I'm about to shower though. I'll talk to you after. And that was at 4:12. And then at 5:33, she's like, what are you doing? Want to watch Euphoria with popcorn? He said, yeah, bet. I'm waiting on Sean to get here, then I'll come over. She said, okay, bet. He loves her message. Then she says, come over soon. She says, are you coming soon? He said, oh, are you coming over? Will is here. Oh, she said, coming soon. And then he said, oh, are you coming over? Will is here. She said, yes. He said, okay, bet. She says, that was at 5:38 p.m. And then it jumps to the 12th. And she says, text. Dom says, curly fries and chicken slider. And then Kenzie says, okay, that was at 4:22. And then it jumps. Oh, it's the same time. Kenzie sends an audio text. And then it jumps to 7:24 p.m. And Kenzie says, what are you doing? He said, just did a couple plays. Now I'm chilling with my mom and my dad. What's up? Kenzie says, is your mom okay? Dom says, not really. Kenzie said, what's going on? Dom says, she's getting through it though. Question mark, question mark, question mark, says Kenzie. Dom says she can't really eat anything and feels sick and in pain. Kenzie said, is she acting normal? Dom said, what do you mean? She's just being all sick and like 3 blankets on the couch. Kenzie said, oh, she's not even up? That's so effed. Dom said, now she's up at 7:39 p.m. He says, only to feed Nico. Kenzie says, I'm dead. Dom says, what are you doing, babe? She says, do you see a pen? White battery? He said, no, I'll check though. She said, nothing so far. He said, no, I haven't seen anything. I only looked for a second though. I'll go look again in a sec. And then she says, babe. He says, babe. She said, they want. Okay, that was on the. Oh, yeah, that was at 8:17. Wait, what? Okay, so when he said, no, I haven't seen anything. I only looked for a sec. I'll go look again in a sec. That was on the 12th at 8:18 p.m. And then it jumps to the 13th. And now it's 7:46 a.m. Are you following? Okay. She says, babe. And he says, babe, why am I slouching? Don't be like me. Get your good posture. Okay. All right. I would be in jail if I was Dom's mom. Hi, Evie. Love each other. Doubt it. Hey, Sarah Beth Gibbons. You better charge it, Alicia. I can't listen to anyone read these texts besides Melly. Okay, she says, She says, okay, so it jumps to the next morning, right? At 7:46. Kenzie says, they want me to take the video down and I'm about to be so pissed. Like it wasn't posted during school hours. He said, is there any way you can archive it like Insta? She said, can your mom defend you trying to suspend me for 3 days if I don't take it down? Dom says, what is she gonna do? Plus, she's super sick. I don't know if she's up. Just make your account private for a couple days and say you deleted it. Kenzie says, I'm so mad. Like, I'm so mad. I effing hate this school. Dom says, to be honest, I'm surprised it went that far and didn't get taken down. Kenzie said, I don't care. I'm about to talk to Mr. Collins. I'm so mad. Dom said, maybe just try to say Audrey bullies you and you want her suspended then. Okay, so she posted something that obviously was bullying and they made her take it down? And it's with Audrey. Hey, Drakey. Thanks for being here. Hey, Pickles. I just can't believe how nasty she was. Yeah, she is nasty. Yeah. Um, okay, he says, maybe Audrey, try to say Audrey bullies you and you want her suspended too then. Kenzie says, I am. Dom said, she copies all your clothes as a taunt. Kenzie said, I am. He likes her message. He said, the taser is here. She said, oh, I'm OMG, I want it. He said, check Snap, about to send a video. She says, babe, can I get it before Polaris? And can I take the pen? Because I'm getting sage for your house. Dom says, no, you can't take that to Polaris. Why do you need sage again? Kenzie said, why? Babe, please, the pen, because I want them. Your house has negative energy. I feel it, like it's weird, but we can fix it. Dom says, the taser to Polaris or the pen? She said, both. He said, just hit the bong and smoke after. The pens are almost gone. She said, I'm going shopping after Polaris. He said, no taser at Polaris. She said, just a pen. He says, come on. I want the pen too, babe. You've had it more than me. She said, please. He says, I can't let you chief all the pens. Let me get more at least. She says, cart, question mark, please. She says, babe. He says, do you have any left? I thought you had hella empty ones. She says, they're all gone. Dom says, I might have a cart somewhere. I'd have to look though. Mackenzie says, let me know. I'm on the way. Dom says, okay, I'll look. He says, found one. It's a good one too. She said, yay. Bring out Karina's shoes too. He says, let me know when you're here. Well, let me take a drink of my water. Okay. I didn't want to be like slurping in your ear. He says, let me know when you're here. Kenzie says, okay. She says, please give me my taser, babe. I won't get in trouble. Dom says, no, you don't need it at school. You shouldn't be bringing that to Polaris. She says, I want to after school. He said, cart is easy to hide though. She said, later. And then she says, here. He says, yeah, I'm not going to let you threaten people with lasers. She says, love you. He says, I'll give it to you, but you got to promise me you won't take it to school because you already got caught with the brass knuckles. She said, I won't, babe. I was young. AF. Then he says, okay, so then it jumps to 5:27 p.m. Dom says, why aren't you answering? He says, I got the stripper pull down trying to show you this. Want to come to Jared's Sunday for a crab boil? Do you like shrimp too? She says, yes. She answers at 10:29. And then jumps to the next morning, 10:38, and she sends him a screenshot and then another screenshot. Dom says, don't you need a picture too? What if you took mushrooms and did some VR shit? Kenzie says, we're not doing the same. And I'm down. Dom said, I think I'm making crab legs tonight if you want some. Need to make the chicken wings, so I'm gonna just do those in the crab legs. Kenzie says, bruh, I just got my hair burnt off with a hot comb. Like I'm about to cry. I can smell it. Dom said, what happened? Does it look bad? She said, yes, very bad. He said, let me see. And she sends a picture. It's too small though, I can't see it. Dom says, it's probably fine. That doesn't look like a lot. She says, I'm going to cry. He says, I have to see when your hair is normal. I don't think anyone will notice though. Kenzie says, I'm going to freak out. Like I can't. She sends another pic. He said, Kenzie, it's okay. Just see how it looks in a little. He says, it'll grow back quick. She said, it won't. It's going to take over a year. Dom said, there's a chance you won't even notice it when your hair is dry. She says, I don't know. She said, it's up right now, so I can't tell. And then she says at 4:02 p.m., when are you going to watch it? And why does Will have to come? Question mark, question mark. Dom says, I'm home now getting wings ready. Will bought the wings. Kenzie says, we can't watch Euphoria when he's there. Question mark, question mark. Dom says, he hasn't hit me up in so long. I don't know if he's even coming. Kenzie said, who? Dom said, Will. He hit me up this morning. He probably fell asleep or something. Kenzie said, oh, are you making them right now? Can we make pasta too? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Dom says, I'm making wings right now. What kind of pasta? Kenzie said, can you make pasta too? I'm coming now. She said, any. He said, we can do my mom's Alfredo recipe. She said, I just want pasta, actually. We can do that. I'm just starving. I want food right now. He says, come over and help me get it done. ASAP. She said, I'm about to come. Just start. Dom says, just got to make sure we have everything for Alfredo. And then she sends a bunch of attachments. Okay, there's like, I wonder if those are pictures or what. She sent a bunch of attachments. Still the 14th at 5:41 p.m. She says, literally though, like WTF at 8:22. You really need to never act like that around me, or I will cause an issue. Like for real, why did perk 30 mode just kick in? Like, do you just act like that when I'm not around? Dom said, look, let's just talk later, babe, at 8:30 p.m. She said, we're not just going to push this shit under the rug. I'm for real over it. Like, we can't even chill alone. Will just slept on your couch snoring. Like, we can't even cuddle. Get your shit together for real. Dom says, you weren't mad about that at first, but okay. Yeah, it was his wings. So I told him earlier. Kenzie says, I'm mad. I'm mad about both. And Dom says, yeah, I wanted to call Blair about the pic and there's sales. That's not a big deal, babe. Kenzie says, that was at 9:06 p.m. And then it jumps to the 15th. This is why we have issues. Dumbest shit at 8:08 in the morning. Goddamn. She sends a screenshot. Then she says, I want to go to the Beechwood Mall today. She says, literally wake up. WTF. Are you for real still sleeping? Like, this is a joke. Like, I'm mad. WTF. Question mark, question mark, question mark. And he finally responds at 11:50 a.m. He says, no, I'm not. She said, you sounded like you just woke up. To me. He says, what did you want to do again? He said, my mom getting rid of Babe, Scoop, and Charlotte. I want to go to Beechwood. She sends question marks. She says, did you do rugs or something last night? Dom questions her message. He said, edibles. I need coffee to wake me up. She said, we can get Starbucks when we go. He says, I need it right now. I'm about to make a cup. She said, K. She said, it's almost like you're trying to piss me the F off. Dom says, how? I wasn't trying to at all. She said, okay. So are we going, or do you need another 4 hours? Like, you didn't even say anything about me giving my pigs away. Oh, Kenzie, sucks for you. You don't deserve the pigs. You're probably mean to them. Hey, Natasha, babe. Just saw you pop in here because I was reading. Hi, babes. Yeah, they are. They are. Oh, did I see someone become a member? Yay! Monica became a member and everyone else should too. Okay. Yeah, listen to Nightball. Um, he was nervous to break up with her because she would have definitely had called the cops. Yes. Yeah, Cree. Spank them. Okay, let's see. She says, like, you didn't even see anything about me giving my pigs away. Like the F. Dom says, I'm tired AF. She said, yeah, let's just not hang. Dom says, yeah, coffee brewing giving me a bit. Okay, he says. Kenzie said, at noon. You're for real, unbelievable, and dry AF. I'm gonna just start writing shit down. Dom says, writing what down? Are we actually not going now? Kenzie says, are you going to be tired all day? Because I'm not dealing with that shit. Dom says, no, I'm drinking coffee right now. Getting in the shower now and coffee helped too. What are you wearing? She says, Skims, maybe. He said, what color? I'm about to get dressed. Will match you if I can. Kenzie sends like a blue outfit, blue dress. She says, we bringing taekwondo. Dom says, oh, damn, I don't know if I got anything to match with that. He said, and bet that's cool. She says, I'll change then. Kenzie says, I'll change then. And Dom says, whatever you want to do, babe, you can wear that. Kenzie says, what are you wearing? He says, I don't know. Are you wearing the blue? If so, I'm gonna just wear some jeans. If you wear the off-white cream color, I can match you. Actually, I can match the blue, I think. She says, come at 1:15 with the pen. He says, getting money and bud ready. Kenzie said, ask your mom if she wants, babe. Hurry and come. He says, I'll ask her. She says, hurry right now. He says, okay, one sec. She said, I want her to have babe, to be honest, but he needs love. Dom says, I kind of want to change real quick. Would you care? She says, hurry. He says, I feel like I'm wasting this fit. Kenzie said, what? He says, I feel like I'm wasting this fit. She says, why? Who cares? What else are you going to wear? He says, I don't know. Fine, I'll just wear it. She said, we can take pics. He says, my hair didn't come out good. I'm salty AF at 1:25 p.m. He says, for real. She said, send pic. He said, sent. She said, on Snap? And he said, yeah. She said, but can you buy then? Look at this. And she sends a link to Target. She's, I'm so sick of her using him. All she does is verbally abuse him and then ask him for money and use him for money. Dom says, where should we eat? Kenzie says, I don't know. My stomach hurts. I want good bread. Dom says, I don't know where to get bread. Let me think. We could just go to Olive Garden, he says at 4:50 p.m. Mott sticks and breadsticks. She says, I don't know, maybe. He said, when would you want to go? She said, whenever. He said, should I look for somewhere else to go? She said, sure. Town Hall? He says, isn't that far? I heard Outback has really good bread. She said, Luca, I'm down. He says, you're saying you down for Luca or Outback? She said, either. She said, I don't care. He says, when do you want to go? I got a play in Lakewood. She said, go where? He said, out to eat. She said, I said whenever, like 30 minutes ago. It's now 5:33 p.m. He says, okay, I'm gonna go do this play, then we can go when I get back. She says, okay. Can we just go to Shinto? He says, yeah, of course. She says, okay, I'm ready at 6:17 p.m. She says, come, ETA. He says, 25 minutes about till I'm back. She said, how long? At 6:45. He says, 6 minutes about now. She said, how? He said, what do you mean? She said, long. He said, about to pull in. He said, here at 6:57 p.m. And then it jumps to the next morning on the 16th at 7:15 a.m. Are you up? She says, yes. He says, I almost just want to come back over. Kenzie says, you can if you want. Dom says, I went home and just went straight to bed, but I didn't even sleep good, for real. My neck kind of hurt. Kenzie says, should I post a TikTok right now? And she says, and come. He says, yeah, post. He says, it's cold. I don't know if I want to come. She said, I don't know. She said, I posted. Dom says, I'm in this weird mood where I'm kind of mad and just want to chalk everything and restart. She says, what do you mean? He says, that's the only way I can explain it. She said, chalk what? She said, like me? Dom said, my whole life. He says, no. Kenzie said, then restart today. He says, what do you mean? She said, I'm a new me all the time. Like, I'll show you pics where that's not even me anymore. But it's not bad. Dom says, not like that. Kenzie says, like what? Dom says, that's not what I meant. Just forget it right now. For real. He says, unlock the door. I'm going to come over. She says, okay. She says, are you coming or not at 8:12? Okay, that was at 8:12. And then it jumps to 11:14. And she says, is your door unlocked? Question mark. Dom says, no. Should I unlock it? Kenzie says, yeah. And then she says, she's telling Kendra you tried to F her. You effing with fat bitches? I'm gonna need to see the messages between y'all. For real. I'm sus right now. Here we go. Incoming. Incoming. Yeah, Mallory's like, she's stupid. All she wanted was his money and his rugs. Mm-hmm. I'm reading it. Oh. Oh, okay. Um. Okay. She's always in trouble. Hold on, people. There's gonna be issues. Yeah. Okay. She says, I'm gonna need the messages between y'all for real. For real. I'm sus right now. This is at 11:16 a.m. Dom says, bruh, Kenzie, I would never F that BITCH. Chill. She's texting me that now. Kenzie said, the text better be on your phone when I get there. Dom said, she hit me up saying, you know, you was trying to F me. Kenzie said, they better be there. Dom said, when are you coming? Bradbury is about to be here, but he's only going to be here for a sec. You want me to just screen record the shit? Kenzie said, no, don't open any. Dom said, I already did before, but I saved them all. Kenzie said, WTF? Why the F did you do that? See, you're sus now. Why did you open the text when I told you not to? And she sends 4 question marks. Dom said, because she said, you know, you was trying to F me. Kenzie said, bro, like, I will believe her. You're making bad for yourself. Dom says, bruh, what the F? That BITCH like 200 pounds. You're actually making me mad. Like, WTF? Kenzie says, why are you getting so defensive? You're making me mad. I'm allowed to be sussed out when someone says you try to F them. Dom said, Kenzie, that B is psycho. She said, okay. Dom says, if some weird F like that said you tried to F them, I wouldn't believe them. Kenzie said, yeah, you still opened everything after I said don't. So why would I believe you saved everything? Question mark. Dom says, because look at my phone. Kenzie says, probably because I never cheated. So I wouldn't expect to feel that way. Like, are you serious? Dom says, I'm honestly so done. You can't be thinking I'd want to F fat bees. Dom said, or even be insecure about her. Like, that shit is fried. Kenzie says, I'm not insecure, LMFAO. Yeah. And a psychopath. Yeah. She does use that. She uses it every time. She uses that against us all over his head. She said, I'm not insecure, LMFAO. Dom says, don't get me all worked up because a fat crazy bee said I was trying to F her. If I was trying to F her, that girl would have effed me in a heartbeat. Kenzie said, calm down, bud. Dom says, no, I'm sick of this bullshit. I actually don't do shit, yet you go crazy on me over the dumbest shit. She says, fine, I'll believe you. If I find out it's true, there will be an issue. Dom says, FaceTime me. Let's play a game of Fort. She says, okay. And this is at 11:30 a.m. He says, yeah, I have way higher standards than that. Then that was like offending me for real. That's like saying I'd wear Skechers or something. Why is he hating on Skechers? Dom says, I'm at the shower if you want to come play Fort at 1:00 p.m. Kenzie says, I'm bored. Dom says, when are we going to Luca? Kenzie says, what time do you think? Dom says, do you want to just leave at 4:30 so we get there at 5? Kenzie says, did you call? Dom says, about what? The vaccine? I thought your mom was going to. I can call if you want. Kenzie said, bruh, it's not even open yet. Why are you trying to go like right now? She has to wait till 5 to call. Dom said, it opens at 5. Kenzie said, because they're not open. So why did we leave at 4:30 then? What if they say no at 5? Dom said, okay. She says, what are you wearing? And he sends a picture of his sweatpants. He's wearing like olive sweatpants. He said, right now I'm wearing this. He said, let's try to get there as early as possible though, because it's going to storm at 7. It's going to snowstorm at 7 and we don't want to be driving. And that was at 4:06 p.m. And then at 4:50, he says, you're crazy. She says, you can think that. And she says, I don't really care. That affects you more than it affects me. I'm just going to stay home. You can find someone else to go out to eat with. Dom says, why? Like, like who? Who do you mean by that? Look, you're being crazy right now. I'll talk to you in a bit. He says at 5:00 p.m. He says, and if you still want to go, we can. She said, I'm cool. He said, but don't get mad at me for doing plays. I spent over $400 on you this weekend. I did get a drink. Hold on. Okay. Don't worry. It's not a Modelo. It's just a Diet Coke. Do I need to show you for proof? Okay, anyways, Dom says, but don't get mad at me for doing plays. Or I spent over $400 on you this weekend and you're mad about 20 to 30 minutes. Like that's hella spoiled for real. And tonight would be another $100 plus. Let me make my money, babe. It's going to snowstorm later, so I couldn't do it then. You for sure don't want to go? She says, I'm not that hungry. He says, it's about to start snowstorming anyway. And then she sends TikTok links at midnight. And then he responds in the morning. So now it's the 17th. And she's sending moon boots. Oh my gosh. Those moon boots are those big, crazy boots, right? I think she had some. I think we've seen some pics. She sent him those. Did he buy those for her? Probably. She says, okay, so that was 9:39 a.m. She says, okay, cool, don't come. Dom said, I'm trying to sleep a little bit longer, so I'm so tired. Kenzie said, you're tired every day. I don't care. Just don't come. Like for real, I'm over this. Just don't text me. Maybe try giving effort. Dom said, bruh, what? She said, read. Like, you're just getting more and more unreliable. For real. Like, I'm over it. Figure it out ASAP. Dom says, unreliable because I want to sleep a tiny bit longer. Like, you're being crazy. Kenzie says, bruh, you do this every day. And call me crazy. You will actually see crazy. You know what? Actually, come to your house and show me what it looks like. You know how crazy I can be? We can start calling names, you effing piece of shit. We can do that too. Like, are we going to start calling names again, piece of shit? Just let me know because I can do it too. Dom says, I said you're being crazy. You're just calling me a piece of shit. She said, I thought I was being crazy. I mean, it looks like you're on your phone and not trying to get more sleep, to be honest. Dom said, because you're texting me. Okay, let's just talk about it in a little then. She said, no, we're just not going to hang or talk today. Since you always want to quote unquote talk later or in a little, grow the F up, LMFAO. Dom says, Kenzie, you're mad because I want to sleep longer. Like, I never ask you to put me before work or school, sleep, or family. Why do you get so mad whenever I put mine first? Like, relax. It's not a big deal. You could have just let me rest my head for a sec, then I'd come take pictures. She says, well, now you have all day to sleep. Have a nice nap. He says, should we just break up? At 9:51 in the morning. So this is when Dom, I think, really just starts getting over her shit. Hey, Mary Beth, good to see you, love. Yeah, Austin, we are over you, crazy. Yeah, Molly's like, shut the F up. He spent so much money on him. I can't believe this was months before he loses his life. Yeah, block her. She took so many pics with those big boots. They're hella ugly. Anyways, Dom says, should we just break up? Like, it doesn't even feel like you care about me anymore. It just feels like you want me to do shit for you. He knows he's being used and abused. Kenzie said, if that's what you want to do, like, I thought you were tired and now you're up. Dom says, yeah, well, I've already been up for a sec. I was trying to hurry and get back to sleep before I was up too long, but I guess, I just can't do that. Kenzie said, okay. Dom says, you need to figure shit out if you want to date me. For real. I don't know if I can keep doing this. You can't be threatening me and stuff over little shit. She said, then break up with me. He says, you don't want to try at all? She said, I do. I do try. You don't figure it out. Dom says, whatever, babe. I do everything for you that you ask, but I'm not going to put you before my sleep, family, or work, and you shouldn't put me before any of that shit. Kenzie said, oh, that's how it is? Okay, cool. Dom says, yeah, what do you mean that's how it is? Should be for everyone. If you're putting someone else before your own personal needs, that's effed up. And you really don't try. What do you do to try? Yeah, you were trying to get me up to take pictures, but there's no way I can get out of my driveway, for real. Kenzie says, yeah, you probably just stare at your phone and take pictures and not even hit me up, so I'm cool on you taking them. I'll just take them myself, I guess. Not sure why it was really hard to okay, wait, so that was at 10:26 AM. And then at 5:56 PM, she says, "Not sure why it was really hard for me to go to the grocery store while I'm getting my eyelashes, but it's okay. Just stay home tonight. I was trying to work it out. So what are you doing something, but clearly you just want to go home and do nothing. So just stay there and do nothing." Dom says, "You never went to the grocery store without me when I asked, and I was busy." She says, "Okay, cool." Dom said, "Also, I don't wanna go these because I think Hannah's mom lives over there." "Oh, I don't wanna go there because Hannah's mom lives over there." Kenzie said, "Go where? What the F? You go every day." Dom says, "Not to that road." Kenzie says, "Why would you be worried about her all of a sudden? I thought you didn't care." Dom said, "'Cause that's the street, I think." Kenzie said, "So you know where she lives and you just didn't tell me?" "Yeah, we're not cool." Dom says, "I don't think. I just think that's the street." Wait, I think he meant to say, "I don't know. I just think that's the street. I'm guessing you already left for Parma, but I would go now." He says at 6:05 PM, "If it's that big of a deal." She said, "No, I didn't." "Why are you sitting up all of a sudden? Did you get caught doing some weird shit?" Wait, so it's 6:05 PM and then yeah, she says, "Why are you sitting up all of a sudden? Did you get caught doing some weird shit?" Dom said, question mark. She said, "Are you for real not gonna get steaks?" He questions her message about why are you sitting up? And then she questions her own message about the steaks. Dom says, "I don't know, because my car's still stuck and now my mom is stuck in our driveway. I gotta go shovel it out." Kenzie said, "Okay, cool, just stay home, Dom," at 6:38 PM. Like, I don't even care anymore, she says. Dom said, there's nothing I can really do. You should see our driveway. Kenzie said, so no stakes? Dom says, I mean, I can start shoveling. That's going to take a while though. She said, bruh, just don't. Like for real, it's sad. Dom said, I was trying to pull my mom's car in and it got stuck. I don't know what's sad about that. Whoever plowed our driveway didn't do it well, so it's hard to get through. My mom said, you have no school, he says the next day at 7:22 a.m. She says, bruh, I don't. No one told me. Dom said, that's what she said. Kenzie says, I want Starbucks. He says, well, you have Starbucks money now. Kenzie said, they might all be closed. Dom said, true. She said, they were yesterday. Dom said, shit's crazy right now. I'd call. Kenzie says, do you want some? Dom says, I'd have some of yours. She says, well, then come over. I'll get a large. Do you like the white mocha better or toasted white mocha? He says, I'm not sure. I haven't had them much. She says, okay, I'll get toasted. It's limited edition. He said, bet, that's a move. I'm about to have to go dig my car out. She says, I'm there right now. Dom says, let me know when you're home. I'm doing push-ups and stuff, then digging the car out. She said, home at 8:32 a.m. He says, okay, bet. She says, when are you coming? He said, soon. I'm about to be done with my car. I'm going to see if I can get it out in a sec. My hands are effed. I didn't wear gloves. She said, post at 10 or 6? He says, 10. Okay. And then he says, I'm done with everything. I can come in a sec, but are you trying to play Fortnite real quick? She said, what happened? Yes, I want to eat. He says, what do you mean what happened? I'm getting on right now. He says, does your Fortnite have to update? She says, no. She says, I'm making food at 10:32 a.m. She says, it will be 2 minutes. Dom said, that's fine. My Fortnite needs like 10 minutes to update. She says, I'm getting on. He said, mine has like 10 seconds left to update. She said, mine has 11. It won't be long. He said, that's fine. I'm a kick it. She said, I'm on. He said, loading on right now. She said, me too. He says, I invited you. Are you in game? She said, I'm on. She said, no. He said, join me. And then he says, your skin goes crazy. Your skin goes crazy. She said, there's a skin in shop. I want it, to be honest. She says, land at the same building. 2 people. He says, F tilted towers. She said, LOL. She says, bruh, click ready. He said, I thought I had materials and just fell. He said, I did. She said, below you. He says, get on mic. He says, we'll play better. She said, okay. She said, want to drop a cart to Parma at 3:36 p.m. He says, Blair probably will. Bruh, that 𝐵𝐸𝐬𝐧 voice. She says, LMFAO. And then she says, Nuggum, you ready? Babe, want to sell to Skylar? She says at 6:33 p.m. Dom says, send her snap to 𝐼𝐸1, then I'll send her Blair snap. Kenzie said, add her. She says, what are you doing at 11:38? He says, about to go to bed soon. What's up? Are you getting your hair braided? She said, Ty coming over now. He said, nice. She said, you can sleep over if you want. He said, should I come now? I'm already in bed. I might come though. She's terrible and she's right where she belongs. Guilty AF. Yeah, that does sound good. Dom was in full love mode. Is that the girl that got pushed down the stairs? No, I don't think it was. I can't remember that girl's name. Dominic must have felt really alone in life to keep hanging on to Mackenzie, even though she was so awful as a human and a girlfriend. Yeah. What's sick is she really thinks her behavior is okay. It's scary. She said, how can you tell? Okay, wait. He said, I'm already in bed. I might come though. Okay, so then it jumps to the next morning. Well, it's 1:26 a.m. She says, how can't you tell something is wrong? Just don't text me. And then he says at 7:10 a.m. Wait, No, I'm sorry, just kidding. At 1:26 a.m. He says, "What's wrong?" He says, I feel bad now. I should have just came yesterday. I was already undressed and stuff." He said at 3:53 a.m. And then at 10:23, she says, "I can't take a good pic. All of them are ugly. Should I just take my hair out?" And she sends a pic of her hair. Dom says, "Who cares how the pic looks, babe? You're gonna flash it for a sec." She says, "Should I take my hair out right now?" He says, "If you want." And she sends another picture of her hair. She says, "Bruh." He says, "Is it coming apart?" She said, "Honestly, just don't text me. Your replies are so ass. Like, get it together. Like, can you reply anything worse? Makes me just want to block you. I'm done." He says, "Bruh, what and how was that a bad reply? I asked if it was coming apart. If you said yes, then I would say take it out." Then she takes her hair out and sends a picture. She said, "I'm gonna use this pic." She says, "How do I make it look like an ID pic?" He said, "Yeah, just use that." He said, "They're gonna put a different background on your pic." Oh, she's getting a fake ID. Kenzie said, "Ian said I can't use that pic." Dom says, "Why?" And then she sends a bunch of question marks. She said, "Why do you think?" Dom said, "Probably the background." Kenzie said, "Good thinking." Like, "Are you okay?" In caps. Like, WTF. Dom emphasizes his message. She said, "You think it's funny?" Yeah, do not text me. Effing slow ass mother effer. He says, "No, did that by accident." Okay, that's cool. You got short temper today anyway. Probably shouldn't text. He removed a laugh. She said, "I would watch your mouth or you will be single and I'm dead ass serious. This is your last chance. Your reply to this counts." Dom says, "Kenzie, I'm so nonchalant. I really try not to do anything. You're the one who's disrespectful to me first." And then she says, "Yeah." And then sends a picture of herself. And then another selfie. And then she sends question marks. She says, like, "Bruh," at 3:44 p.m. "Send your pic to him now." Dom said, "I just sent mine." He said, "Yeah, that one is perfect. You want to go to Condado's later? I'm craving it." She said, "Luca." She said, I'm down for that too." "When? Tonight or right now?" He said, "Not right now, but in a little." He said, "That cool?" She said, "How long?" She said, "Okay." And that's at 5 o'clock p.m. She sends a bunch of dots. He says, "An hour." She said, "Should I just eat? I want to buy a taco, but I'm piggy." Oh, she typed piggy, but meant picky. She said, "That queso sounds good though." Dom says, "You liked the one taco." She said, "What one?" She said, "I'll just get that again in another taco." She says, "I want a shrimp taco." He says, "They might have those." She says, "I want to try it. Hurry up. I'm hungry. Scoop when you're ready." And then she says, "Did you send Ian the pic?" Dom says, "Yeah, I sent him my pic." And then there's a picture of him. He says, "Should I take another?" She said, "Nah, it works." He said, "I don't know if it was too blurry." Kenzie says, said the guy put the filter on it and makes it better." Dom says, "What filter? Like, make it look better quality?" Kenzie says, "I don't know." She says, "I don't know." She says, "Oh my effing God, the guy put a filter on it, makes it look like a better picture." "Not you, read." Dom says, "Whatever, it don't matter that much." Kenzie says, "You're literally being slow." Dom says, "LOL, okay." She says, "When?" He said, "I'll be on the way in 10." She said, "Okay." He said, "I'm on your street." And that was 5:57 p.m. And then she's sending a bunch of links to Skims clothes. More links. She sent like 20 links, not lying. Oh, there's more and more, more and more. She's like, "Buy me this." And then at 8:24, she says, like, "I don't know what's up with you. Not liking it. Like, WTF." And Dom says, "Kenzie, Imma get the bread." She said, "Sus. I don't even care. Making me look bad." Dom said, It's really not. Just tell him I was in a rush and being fried. I told him I was in a rush. Kenzie said, strike 3. And that's on the 20th at 9:17 a.m. Hey, Jamie. I got your emails. I'll get back to you. I was wondering where you were tonight. She's mentally wearing him down. I know. Hey, Amy, she's awful. Yes, she is. She's so mean. What ass? He's treated like her slave butler. Kenzie supporters actually defended her. Dude, WTF, she's a terrible person. Yeah, I know she is. Yeah, I guess people will defend her. Tay says he must be extremely attracted to her because what else makes it worth putting up with this? Going to jail for being a rug dealer and for dating her because she's not 18. I think he's upset with her. I mean, I think he's not upset. Well, yeah, but I think he's like scared of her. She said, strike 3 at 9:17 a.m. on the 20th. You really need to get this shit together. Don't even text back. I don't have to block you. I don't have to block you again all day. He says, what did I do? And then he responds a really long message at 9:21. Here it goes. I feel like you just want to put me in a bad mood. Like WTF, I'm half deaf. You can barely talk to me. Don't tell me where the bags are. Just say downstairs. Tell me you need bun right now when we just passed my house and I'm trying to leave to do stuff. And now you want to say you're going to block me slash break up with me? Like, please, if this is every day, just break up with me. If I'm in some type of mood, I'm just not going to tell you or not be around. I don't try and make you feel shitty. Like I feel that's what you try to do. Like I don't do none of this shit that you do and you have to do it to me. I guess I'm just going to pretend like none of that happened. He said my mom's infection isn't getting better so far. He says I'm worried. I think she'll be okay, but she hasn't been able to work. And if she can't work, she's effed because she has to support everyone. And with Chris isn't going to help her with anything. And that was at 10:10 a.m. And she responds at 1:39 p.m. Can you get my friend a stizzy? He says, not right now. And then he sends us an attachment of something I can't see. Oh, it's a Google search. And he says, my mom has this. And it's 1:39 p.m. He says, I don't know what to think. She said, WTF. What does that even mean? Is she in the hospital? Dom says, yeah. She has holes in her intestines. And he sends her another screenshot and another screenshot. He says, babe, I'm gonna freak. If something happens to my mom, I don't think I can live. Wow. Dom says, Kenzie said, is she going into surgery? Want me to come over after school? Dom said, yeah. She's, hopefully it goes good. Well, she didn't tell me that. I'd assume so, though. My poor mom doesn't deserve this. Like, why couldn't it be my dad? For real. Wow, that makes me really sad. Makes me really I'm not crying, but I was going to. Oh, she had ulcers? What was wrong with her? Diverticulitis? Allegedly? I don't know. Hmm. It's really sad. He says, like, why couldn't it be my dad? For real. I'm so sad. I can't stop crying. Um, he says at 1:50 p.m. He says, I'm good now. I think she'll be okay. Okay, good. No more crying. She says, FaceTime me. I have to stay after today at Polaris till 3 o'clock so I can make up my hours. Dom said, that's fine. I'm probably going to run to Walmart with Blair to get minute cards and I need dish soap and shit for the crib. Do you want me to FaceTime you right now? She said, yeah, you can. I'm just undoing a perm. On the way home, she says, at 3:15. And she says, are you okay? We have problems. Dom said, check flight prices. Kenzie says, tell your boyfriend to shut the F up. I wasn't talking to him. I mean, your effing dog. Dom says, you're stressing the F out of me. Kenzie says, like that little mother effer is just going to get dragged around on a leash. Dom says, my mom is in the hospital already. Like, so insensitive. Mackenzie said, he better shut the F up. Dom says, I'm so mad at you right now. You better not stress me out any more than I am. Kenzie says, like, I literally texted you and asked you if you were okay and you ignored me. Dom says, I'm at Walmart. She says, honestly, I don't even care at this point. I'm not going anywhere with you. Go F Blair or something. He said, my hands are full. You called me on the phone, some bullshit anger. Who cares if I'm okay? Don't stress me and press me to spend hella money when my mom is in the effing hospital and probably won't be able to work for a while. Like, I'm gonna have to help out. I'm so mad at you right now, for real. Like, insensitive AF. And then he says, do you want to go bowling with me and my dad? Okay, so that's weird how they go from one thing to another like that. She says, when? He said, soon. She said, when? He said, I don't know exactly. Let me ask my dad. She said, when? He said, okay, just don't go then. Honestly, I'm still mad about the whole thing with my mom. And she says, bruh, in caps. Tell me if I'm going. Dom says, why you keep stressing me out? Kenzie said, mad about your mom? I didn't even do anything. I asked if you were okay. She says, okay, I just won't go. Psycho. She says, tell me now at 3:46 p.m. She said, or I'm making plans, like WTF. Dom says, Kenzie, you called me on the phone trying to get me to go to Florida this weekend. My mom is in the hospital right now, and I don't know what's going on. Last thing I want to do is blow all my money in Florida. My mom is going to need my help. She's not going to be able to work. And then you won't let me get off the phone when I'm trying to load my car at Walmart. Then I got to ask my dad when we're going. And you said, when? 3 times. Like, I'm so done with you. Dom was done with her just a little too late, man. RIP Dom and Davion. How sad. She says, I think I'm gonna go to New York this weekend. Dom said, like my stress is off the roof and most of it because of you. Kenzie said, that honestly sounds like it's your fault because I'm really not doing anything. He emphasized his message. And Kenzie says, I'm sorry, asking you to go to Florida brought on so much stress. Don't effing text me. Dom says, I'm done talking to you till you fix this. And I'm serious. She said, I'm okay. He said, you need help. She said, and you don't? Dom said, when you fix this, I'll talk to you. She said, Dom, I don't care. He said, bye, Kenzie. Love you. She said, then don't talk to me. I didn't do anything like, I for real don't care at all. She said, so we're not going to Florida anymore this weekend? Not even New York? And he doesn't respond. And she says, you have 5 minutes to reply to my message or there will be problems, by the way. He emphasized, when you fix this, I'll talk to you. She said, 1 minute. He said, you have to fix this. She said, I will block you, then you will really be stressed. He says, and no, I can't go to Florida. She said, not even New York. He emphasized, you have to fix this. She said, I will block you right now. I'm so serious. 5 minutes to answer. Dom said, New York is vaccine mandatory. And no, Kenzie, you're being super insensitive. I don't want to go anywhere with you till you fix this. She said, I'm not fixing anything because I did nothing. I will block you. So I would be answering. And then she says, so am I blocking you? I swear to God, I will right now if you don't answer right now. Okay, blocked. And that was at 4:18 p.m. She's the epitome of abuser. I know. It's the worst. The people in her life has helped her know that the world, her world revolves around her. Exactly. Exactly, Cree. Feels so bad. What an asshole. I know. We all jump through many emotions. I know, Michelle. I hate her so much. I mean, I knew she was a piece of shit, but I didn't know it was this bad. I mean, I knew it was bad, bad, but this is like, wow. This is like, wow. She says, okay, so that was at 4:19 p.m. And then at 7:15, she says, I need weed. I'll buy it. I need it now. You have 5 seconds to call me. He says, okay, I'll be home in a sec. She says, or we will break up. Sorry, let me fix my chair. She says, or we will break up. She says, no, send me a screenshot. I don't believe you. She says, money is on the TV stand in the living room. I'm not going outside. Dom says, I'm just gonna throw it in your mailbox real quick if that's cool. You don't even gotta bring bread out. She said, bruh, no, it's cold. Can you just bring it in? Wow. He's like, just get it from the mailbox. I don't want to see you. I'm not even gonna, don't even pay. And she's like, she's like, can you just bring it in? He said, damn, she said, okay. And then she says, we need to talk. When are you going to be here? She says, and we can talk tomorrow. He says, I left it there already. I'm not talking to you unless you're trying to fix this or end this, I guess. Kenzie said, left it where? She said, I'm saying we need to talk and figure this shit out tomorrow. Dom says, what shit? He said, go ask your dad. I threw it on the stand. Kenzie said, like, I don't know what's up with you. And is this good weed? Dom says, yes, it is. She questions her own message. He says, what do you mean? And what are you supposing by that? Kenzie said, I wasn't even mean earlier. You just tweaked. Dom said, I was really flustered. And yeah, you were being kind of insensitive. Actually, you weren't being sensitive at all. She said, I really wasn't. I asked if you were okay. You just ignored me. Dom says, let me tell you my point of view. Here it goes at 8:04 p.m. I'm rushing through Walmart, didn't grab a cart, just grabbing things in my arm. So I get to the line and I didn't even put my stuff down yet. And you start texting me and then start calling me, telling me you want to go to Florida. And that's a big decision for me. Because I would assume I would be paying for everything. And to book flights in a day, we'd probably pay $1,000 for a ticket as opposed to like 200 to 300. So I wanted to get off the phone so I can at least think and check out. And for real, meanwhile, I'm stressed out more than ever about money because I have to support myself. And now I have to support my mom because I'm not going to let her work till she's dead for Topher. So I'm kind of in a pickle. The last thing I'm thinking about is blowing racks on a vacation and not even getting a good deal. And then to top it off, you get mad at me and start arguing with me when my arms are full of shit in the Walmart line. So you see how that can be frustrating? He says, then you start texting me, dogging me about Blair just because he agreed with me. Then I dropped it, wanted to go bowling, and you couldn't even give me 2 minutes to talk to my dad. Had to text me when 3 times making me think you're trying to piss me off. Then you say you're going to block me. Yeah, I was pretty fed up and still am. She said, bruh, I just asked when and you got all mad. You were ignoring me, so I block. You didn't seem to care. Dom says, you didn't seem to care how I felt. Kenzie says, why would I ask you if I don't care? Dom says, when I told you how you were being insensitive, you didn't even answer. And she says, like, with 4 question marks. Dom says, so when you wanted to block me, I was like, F it. She don't care then. Kenzie says, why did you say no on my story? Dom said, because high school is 4 short years of your life. Might as well do it all. He says, unless you can't pass. Kenzie says, babe, I don't think I'll be able to pass. I think this is my only option. Dom says, then do it. She says, I don't know. I'm going online. It's 11:38 p.m. She says, question mark, question mark. And then it jumps to the next morning at 10:04 a.m. And she says, can we go to Saks? I would start replying if I was you. She just uses him. Hey, Caters. I really have no words for her. I know, me either. So the next morning, she's like, take me to Saks, spend your money on me. Well, she just said, take me to Saks. And then she says, you better start replying. And then she says at 2:27 p.m., maybe we should just break up. Dom says, I told you I wasn't talking to you till you at least try and fix this. Kenzie likes her own message about breaking up. Dom says, cool, then I've had it with all the threats and disrespect. When you want to try to change, you can be with me, but right now you're not you. Kenzie says, so are you breaking up with me? Just let me know. Dom says, no, I'm not going to talk to you at least till you agree to try and be more considerate of other people's feelings. And if you don't want to do that and break up with me, you can. Kenzie says, I didn't do shit and I'm not talking about shit. And if we're talking about anything, it's about your shitty ass attitude and how you've been acting like a complete R for like 4 months. So pick your fucking poison because I'm over anything that you effing do. Like you would think after being together for 3 years, you would know what not to do. And yet you literally do it and it's effing stupid and slow. Like get it together. Pick your effing poison. I'm done today. Dom says at 2:32 p.m. See, and then you just try and push the attention into me. Like to be honest, babe, you need to see a therapist. Kenzie says, I don't give an F. I didn't do anything. Shove it up your asshole. Oh, sorry, YouTube. It's in the text, dude. She says, after you. Maybe when you she says, maybe when you cure your bipolar, I'll go see a therapist. I think it's disgusting when people use someone's mental health like this. Finally, he breaks it down to her, but it's not like she cares about anyone but herself. Dude, Mallory, girl, I'm right there with you. Why doesn't she speak respectful to him ever? Does she even know what that means? I don't even think she knows what that means. I think she has no idea of what the word respect is or what it stands for. She's weaponizing his issues all the time. Yeah, I know. I wish Miss Russo would have like just got a restraining order on her and like kept her the away. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. She says, maybe when you cure your bipolar, I'll go to a therapist. He says, we'll both go. She said, so pick your effing poison because I'm done today. She says, I'm okay. You're either going to treat me how I effing want or you're going to be single. It's not that hard. Dom says, because for real, you don't realize what you do. She says, I don't care. He says, I don't get treated how I want. When I get treated how I want, I'll treat you how you want. Kenzie says, what? Because I don't effing have sex with you or S your D? Dom said, but for real, it's like you don't have compassion or feelings anymore. Kenzie said, then break up with me. Dom says, you're just mean and threatened to break up with me. Kenzie says, it's almost like you don't have compassions or feelings when you F both of my best friends. It's kind of hard to like have feelings when that happened to you. And you're just slow and do things that I repeatedly tell you not to. Your point? Question mark. He said, that was 3 years ago now. She said, thank you for telling me how long it takes to heal my trauma. Kenzie, why do you think he didn't want to have sex with you and kiss you? Because you're nasty like this. And I don't mean nasty in a good way. You know what I mean? He's got to get it from somewhere. Yeah, I know. Nasty AF. That's right, Anton. Why doesn't he just break up with her? I know. She says, thank you for telling me how long it takes to heal my trauma. Dom says, I've changed. Kenzie says, your childhood happened years ago and you still talk about it. So Dom says, you're not trying to change for us at all. Kenzie says, I don't care if you changed or not. You still do weird shit. Dom says, sorry, I have childhood trauma. Kenzie said, if anyone's not changing, it's you, buddy. Are you effing slow? Yeah, I'm done. Literally just don't effing text me. You're so effing stupid. Like, just dump me or some shit. Dom says, I changed so much for you. Kenzie says, I mean, shit, you were literally probably the most grimy piece of shit I ever met in my whole entire life when I first met you. So that's probably good. And I wouldn't be mad about that. I mean, you can change back and go F Parma B words and B's with STDs. I'm fine with that. Dom says, and I'm for real, commitment forever. I'm the most loyal person you'll meet. That's why I'm not breaking up with you. Kenzie says, yeah, that's definitely a lie. So shove that back up your ass. I know someone who cheated on me multiple times did not say they are a loyal person. I'm on Oh my gosh, I'm gonna throw up. She says, "I'm a mother effing trophy wife." I am going to scream into this mic and wake up everyone that lives around here, and then the police will come here. Did you see all this? Says, "I've never disliked someone so much." Dude, Cree's like, I'm gonna be able to hear you. Um, she says, "I'm a mother effing trophy wife. I have people literally DMing me, begging me, and proposing to me in my effing TikTok comments. Pick your effing poison." I'm gonna vomit. She says, "You can make me happy or you can be single." Dom says, "Kenzie, I care way more than you think. You can say that all you want. I'm super sorry and I really didn't mean those things. I had really bad attachment issues from my childhood." Dom, quit quit apologizing to her. And then he says, "But you have to try and change a little too. I worked out like all my issues that I didn't even know I have, and I really did all of that for you. All I ask is that you try to work out some of yours, because for real, your anger problem can't be like this forever. Pick what you want to do, but I'll never leave you, Kenzie. I'm just going to give you the option. But after what happened yesterday and you didn't even say sorry, it makes me feel like you don't even care about me." That was at 2:41 p.m. And at 4:39, she says, "I need a bottle for tonight. I swear to God, I'm not playing this game. You're going to text me back fast or we're not going to be in a relationship." Dom said, "That's exactly what I'm talking about. You just threatened me. You can't go a day without threatening to break up with me as much stress as I have. What do you need a bottle for?" She said, "I threaten you because you don't effing listen. I'm hanging out with all my friends tonight and we're drinking and playing games at my house. So I need it and it doesn't matter why I effing need it." And then she sends 3 question marks. Like, "We're not gonna play the slow answering game. I don't do that shit." Dom says, "Why can't your mom get one?" Kenzie says, "I asked you. Are you trying to like cause effing problems? Because there could be problems. Like, are you okay? What the actual F is wrong with you? Acting like you don't want to dress in the new effing, say the stupid replies like that." I think there's typos there. Dom questions her message. She says, "You better get your effing shit together or you will be single and so effing serious." Dom said, "Kenzie, I gave you the option. Yet you're still texting me, raging at me, demanding things." Kenzie says, "If you do not answer me fast and well thought out replies, you will be single. And I'm telling you that right now. So effing figure it out." Dom said, "That's another threat. You're not going to do that. That's why I'm distancing myself. Like I'm giving you the choice to try and be better. And you're just threatening me, demanding things." Kenzie says, "You are the most dumb mother effer I ever met. I need the bottle in a couple hours. Just drop it off. You can be with a Parma B or a B like me. You need to figure that out today. Because this is a problem. And if it's not resolved today, then I'm breaking up with you. And I don't even care at this point. I don't need anybody." Dom says, "To be honest, I really don't care if you leave me like that. You never deserved me in the first place." "She's a trophy wife, I'm sure," says Nicole. No. Dom, be single, please. Wow. Alicia's like, "I did in my pillow," and my cat is like, "What's going on? Hey, Shay, good to see you." Yeah, we're all screaming here. Yeah, good job, Dom. What's her problem? She literally has, and it's more than mental health issues. Like, there's something seriously wrong with her. He says, "You never deserved me in the first place. I'm giving you the option to show you care. And right now, you're showing me you don't care. All I have gotten is threats and demands." Kenzie says, "Are you acting like you care?" I'm telling you now, if you do not fix how you're talking to me right now, I'm going to block you and our relationship will not be a thing tomorrow. I'm so effing serious. I'm telling you, I have famous people in my DMs and people proposing to me in my TikTok. Don't play this game with me. I will win. You have 5 minutes to answer. Kenzie, no one is proposing to you. Like, what? Who's proposing to you? No one did. He says, "Okay, Kenzie, I don't really care who's in your DMs. Our relationship can start changing right now, and you can get this ring on your finger, and we can be happy together, or you can just break up with me." Dom, don't offer a what are you doing? Like, why do you love her? I'm just like, wow. Kenzie says, "You're not going to change. You're just giving me the same dry replies and act all dead. Like, you don't give an off colorful vibes. You just give up gray." That's what Kenzie said. It's almost like you don't even have a personality. It's just so weird and trapped. That can't be all you. Dom says, "Okay, or just be mean some more." Kenzie says, "You literally are the most dry F I've ever met. I'm blocking you." Like you're trying to resolve problems and you say that you're dumb as shit. Like maybe when the light bulb turns on in your head, we can be in a relationship. This is your last chance to reply right. He says, "I'm ready to resolve things. I've been waiting on you. You literally threatening me again. Like I'm barely asking shit from you." Kenzie says at 5:50 p.m., "You have 10 minutes to come here and talk because clearly your effing head is in an understanding that anything going on in these text messages. And if you're not here in 10 minutes, I'm just going to block you and you will be done because clearly you don't care." Dom says, "Okay, I'm eating right now. Give me a second. I'll be on the way." She said, "Timer starts now." He says, "You got to chill with the threats. I'll be there though." At 6:43, she says, "We're done." And he says, "I'm unaliving myself." She drives him to this point. Yeah, crazy she does. Wow. She treats him like she I know. Yeah, he says, "I wanna unalive myself." He says, "I can't take it." That's really upsetting. She says, "Okay, I'll just call 911 to your house right now." He says, "You're for real making me go crazy. Why are you doing this?" He says, "Why are we done? You're so terrible." Kenzie says, "Why did you just leave in the middle of a conversation? Did you say sorry to my mom?" Kenzie Dom says, "What should I say?" Kenzie says, "Sorry." Dom says, "Okay." So I'm guessing he went over there and her disgusting mom got involved. Kenzie says, "What a great start with the replies. Like after we literally had this conversation, it's not even 1 minute ago, and you gave a dry reply, two of them." Dom says, "I texted her really quick. That's what I was trying to do. You shouldn't have made it a big deal. Now I'm embarrassed." Kenzie says it's very traumatizing for somebody's daughter's boyfriend to go in the bathroom and try to unalive himself. She said it's not rude. Dom said, "I wasn't trying to unalive myself. You were making me wig out and not letting me leave. I'll just talk to you later." She said sideways emoji. He says, "What? I'm for real just not good right now with everything going on. And like I'm embarrassed because I started tweaking." Kenzie says, "You can come back tonight if you can be chill and we can watch movies and smoke blunts." He says, "I kind of want to go to Joey's Kyle and Blair and Malcolm going." Kenzie says, "Can me and Kendra come in Hope and Tess?" Dom says, "I don't know, I'll ask." Kenzie says, "Well, you're not going if I'm not." So let me know. Dom says he booked it straight in the hood. She says, we want to go. He says, we can go. She said, okay, yay. He said, I almost want to bring the pole. It's off St. Clair. She said, okay, I'm down. She says, we're eating right now, then we can go. Dom says, I need to eat, then I'm down. He says, probably should go yet on Joey's story. It's just him, Carl, and Damon. She said, LOL. We'll go later. Dom said, it's in the hood though. I don't want to pull up too late. Kenzie said, what? He says, well, depends where we got to park. He says, Kyle is leaving at 8:30. Probably just go then. She said, okay. And then she said, Carl's story. I feel bad. Question mark, question mark. Remember, you have to reply fast. Dom says at 8:28 p.m. It's been 6 minutes, babe. She said, and? She says, I'm bringing back calamari. Dom says, I had to come next door to grab some food and stuff for the party. She says, I can eat it. He says, we'll food for now and liquor for party. Kenzie says, are you driving? Dom says, from where? She said, Rosewood. Dom said, no, I'm at my mom's. She says, I'm there with Kendra to the party. Are you driving to the party? I don't want to. Dom says, oh no, can you drive? We shouldn't take my car. Kenzie says, fine. And then she says, on the way home, come. She says, on the way, come. He says, I'm trying to think what to do because I'm sketched bringing y'all to the hood. I want to bring a pole or swoop Will with the pole. Kenzie says, figure it out and let me know, please. Dom says, I got you. She says, I'm home. Are we going? Dom says, I don't know, Kenzie. It doesn't seem like anyone there, and it's on St. Clair's Ave. That's like the worst street on the east side. It's 8 minutes from Will's mom. Kenzie says, WTF. Dom says, I don't know if it's worth going. Kenzie says, what is wrong with Joey? Well, you can just come here and we can all smoke and watch movies. Tell Jared to come too. LOL. Dom says, if we got to worry about people getting active, I don't know. Jared's car needs work. He has no car. Kenzie says, what? And she questions his message. Dom says, I'm talking to my dad. Shooting. She says, FaceTime me at 9:01 p.m. He said, 1 second, talking to my dad. He says, about to walk next door real quick. Kyle said he's there and it's not sus if you want to go. He says at 9:33 p.m. Dom said, he said, really no one there, but more people are coming. I'm about to just go slump. Are you even up? And that was at 11:50 p.m. So she wasn't up. She wants to be hood so bad. Yeah, I don't know what a pole is. Like, what is that? Like the stripper pole or like a weapon? Oh, okay. Okay, so then it goes to the next day. She says, I need a box. A box at 1:40 p.m. He says, you want to get petty? She says, yes, right now. I was going to do my nails myself. Whenever they do gel, it always just comes off. So I might just get a clear coat, but I'm down to go. Let me know. Dom says, can I do a couple sales? She said, bruh, why would you ask me to go, then do sales? I'm going to be busy later today and at 4. He says, yeah, we can probably go now then. She said, I need a box of carts though. Come get me. What place do you want to go to? He says, I don't know what one. You think I'm not going to know? She said, Pure or number 1 or a new place. He says, here at 2:19 p.m. And then they're playing cup pong on their phone while they're getting their nails done. So we're going to skip right through those. Oh. So then at 3:18 p.m., he says, she's vax. Kenzie says, LOL. Dom says, sheep. And then he sends pictures of them at the nail salon. She says, bottle at 5:52 p.m. He says, I'll be dropping it here shortly. Kenzie says, okay, I'm going to the mall real quick. Dom says, when will you be back? If you're not there, should I just drop it off? She says, babe, at 6:49 p.m., I was just getting followed. Dom says, what do you mean? How? She says, at 9:34 p.m., are you going to the party? Dom said, I'm stopping by there. Is no one there again? Me and Blair for real just going to go to use the Wi-Fi for our trap phones. Kenzie says, why are you stopping there? Dom says, because I had to bring Will Butt on the east side and got some joggers and hoodies from the clothes girl. Kenzie says, babe, I need weed at 10:13 p.m. She says, drop it off before you go. She says, weed. He says, I'm texting Kyle if he's at Shermer. Maybe he can do me the favor. If not, I'll be back in a bit. She said, okay, is it lit? He said, no, not at all. Just me, Will, Blair, and Joey. Well, Joey left the room, so now just us. Kenzie said, how's the party? At 11:04 p.m. Kenzie says, Carl is inviting Nat. Dom said it was shitty. She said, did you leave? He said, but if y'all pull up, I'll pull back with you. I was only coming to give you back weed. Kenzie says he's texting, not inviting her to the party, and Natalie asked to send a video, and now he's not answering fast. How many people are there? LOL. Dom says at first it was just like Joey, Damien, George, Carl, and them, but people started coming as we left. Kenzie said, is there a lot? Should we go? Want to drive us? It's already 11:06 p.m. too. Dom says bunch of fat girls came, so me and Blair decided we were out. Kenzie says LMFAO. No. Dom says I took a couple shots already. Blair is driving. Kenzie said, oh, so is it lame or no? Dom says, yeah, probably kind of lame. She said, okay, so we shouldn't pull up. You guys can come hang with us if you want. Dom says, yeah, it's not worth going to the hood. He said, Blair has to go home. Kenzie said, you can. Dom said, word, it'll probably be like 40 minutes. We just dropped Will off at his hotel. She says, LOL, can we smoke a wood? He says, yeah, I got woods in a bag on me. He says, should I just get it dropped? And she says, no, maybe don't come. Let me ask them. She says, I want you to. She says, hold on. Dom says, let me know. And that was at 11:25 p.m. Ew. Yeah, I remember the the big toenail. Um, that's funny. Okay, she says, okay, so now it's the next day. She says, want to go to Saks tomorrow? Oh, it's midnight. She says, I want that sweater. She says, I stole a hoodie from PacSun, $90. So Kenzie's a little shoplifter. Dom says, yeah, we can. He says, do you know how much it is? She said, I don't know. She says, I have that card. Said that card has 600 on it. What sweater is it? Maybe I can look it up. Kenzie says, I don't know. It's Margella, I think. And then she's sending clothes to Skims. She's obsessed with Skims. She's sending all these links of clothes. And then she says, and I'm effing poor and my mom can't buy me a pair. Like, how the F do we get it out? Dom says, I told her how to get it out. She says, when? Question mark, question mark, question mark. More question marks, more question marks. She says, bruh, answer right now. It's 9:04 a.m. He says, what? I said I told her what to do. Why are you saying when I already told her? Kenzie says, what did you say to her? Dom, I would fix your replies. Like dead ass. Dom says, it should come right out. If you heavy damp a washcloth, then just put it over the resin spot and put a hot iron to the cloth. It should soak it into the washcloth. So she got resin on her Skims yoga pants, I think. Kenzie says, you didn't say that. Dom said, that's what I texted her. Kenzie said, buy the leggings, please. My mom's just going to ruin it. And she's not letting me buy another pair. Dom said, let me try to fix them first. I think we can get it out. Kenzie says, should I not even let my mom try and mess it up? Or should I just give it to you? Answer now. Please just buy me new pairs. They're going to be sold out. Bro, you for real have 3 seconds to reply. Dom says, I'm texting her. How much are they? She said $60. She says, "Do we have to take them out right now?" It's better than $90 Lululemon leggings. She says, "What the F?" My mom says you shouldn't do it if you're gonna take to get here. If My mom says you should do it if you're gonna take to get here. Questions her message because it makes no sense. Kenzie says, like it will stain and soak it. My mom is saying you should just do it. She says, answer, bruh. He says, okay, I got you. She says, what do you mean I got you? Like, question mark. He says, I'm probably gonna do the iron thing, then let's put oil on it. It should all come out. She says, OMG, if it ruins my pants, I'm seriously going to freak out. My mom is effing slow. Please, can we get your house together? Like, I can't do this shit. She's so unhelpful. She says, so, bro, why the F are you not replying? And then she sends more links of the leggings so he can buy them. Dom says, the pants are only 60. We'll try to fix them. If we can't totally fix it, we'll get another pair. Don't worry too hard, babe. It's okay. She says, I'm for real about to cry. I wear those every day. He says, let me see if Google has any better info before I do my iron thing. She says, come over. They're still here, but come with me. They're still here, but come with weed and help me fix it. When they leave, we can go to the mall, then watch Euphoria. Dom says, I just got up so I could get dressed, grab the less oil, come over and do that real quick, then come back to my house and shower. About to come do that real quick, just getting my car started. He says, damn, never mind. I got to shovel my driveway and clean my windshield. She says, come at 9:26 a.m., please. She says, hot water, microwave water. He says, can you pick me up? I don't have a snow brush and I can't find my broom or shovel. And listen to this. When I got out of the bathroom, my phone just turned back on with 1%. Let me know because I want to get in the shower. She says, babe, want to get breakfast with us? Babe, bruh, like turn your ringer on. Why is it so complicated and hard for you to do? Like if you're almost deaf, your ringer needs to be on. Common sense. You hear Bradbury or Blair calling from a mile away. She says, bruh. Dom says at 10:42, I was in the shower, babe. She said, babe, you can hear it. I know you can. Dom says, I actually didn't even, but if I did, I probably wouldn't answer if I'm in the shower. For real, it's too far to reach. She says, I can definitely get it. Are you coming? Yes or no? He says, when are you going? I need a sec. She said, like about to leave in 1 sec. He says, where are y'all going? She said, to Jennifer, are you ready? He says, yeah, I'm outside. She said, okay, we're about to come. He says, I need a shovel bad. Then she says, I need a virus brush. Oops. He says, what? She said, on the way. Is your driveway too effed to pull in? Dom says, honestly, you could pull in. It's too effed to walk through though. She says, yeah. Dom says, if you don't want to pull in, just go without me. I'm not trying to walk through all of that. She says, here, here, here. She keeps sending here. He says, I'm coming. He says, do you still want me to come? Okay, so that was at 11:18 a.m. And then he says, do you still want me to come at 1:35 p.m.? She says, later. He says, when? He says, wow, your replies are so bad. I can't believe you. And you haven't texted me for over an hour. So Dom is literally saying to her what she says to him. Okay, Natasha, thanks for being here, babes. Her motives are always bad about what he can do for her. It's sickening. He literally snowed in and she's saying, come over. I can't stand her. Um, so then she sends pictures of her nails. He said, those are long AF. She has like long ass nails on. She said, come over. Dom said, give me a sec. She said, bring tree. He says, I got you. She says, come. She says, I'm for real mad. He says, and about what? Why? Kenzie says, none have rides home. Like how? Kenzie says, you drove every single person home. Did they throw you some gas money? Kenzie said, no, I didn't. He says, who all did you drive? She said, no one. He said, oh, is everyone still there? Dom says, I can't find my keys. Once I do, I'm a brush off my car and come. Kenzie says, let me know when to put the stakes out. He said, put him out. He says, I'm about to come. It's 7:18 p.m. She says, I'm about to drive them home and they were out of LA, so they got some weird shit. So hopefully they're good. Fillets. Just come now though. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Dom says, okay, bet. She says, I'm so pissed. Is a sirloin good? Dom says, to be honest, I don't know. I've never cooked one. I can't do cream sauce with it for real. She said, OMG, I'm gonna freak. Like, tell my mom. Dom says, who all are you driving home? I might just come back. Kenzie says, right now, Nat and Tess, tell her. I'ma just, there's a typo. Dom says, what should I tell her? She says, freak. Dom says, I feel bad. They already bought the steaks. Kenzie says, I can't make the steaks with that. Tell OMG. Dom says, I can cook them, just no cream sauce. Kenzie said, what's the point? Like, I'm gonna freak the F out. OMG. Dom says, you text her. I don't know what to say. Kenzie says, bro, I'm driving. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Dom says, I thought you'd voice it, but I got you. So you only want steaks if they have cream sauce? Question mark. She says, bruh, I wanted your steaks. That's all I wanted. Dom says, I'm sorry, babe. I wish I knew they had no fillets. I would have figured something else out. I could probably cook it with a ribeye. Maybe not the same, but similar. She says, I'm going to freak out. He says, could I do a butter sauce? Can't promise how good it'll be because I never cook sirloin. Actually, I can cook it good, but like a sirloin fillet is a fillet sirloin? Not much marbling or fat. Kenzie said it's gone. Oh, she meant I'm home on the way home, but it was a typo. He says, what you want to do about food? Do you want me to cook the sirloins? She says, I don't know. I'm upset. FaceTime me. She says, you at my house? Bring tree. Yes or no? Are you there? He says, did you try it? He says, do you want me to just come up? Let me know, babe. Okay. And we're going to end there on the 23rd because this live is already 3 hours long. So we're going to end on the 23rd. Well, on the 24th. Okay. He says, let me know, babe. And then it starts on the next day. So tomorrow we'll read, well, I don't know if I'm doing Kenzie tomorrow, another true crime, possibly Kenzie tomorrow. She can put rugs and drinks in her system, but can only eat special. It's funny to her. Her mother was lazy AF. I know. Yeah, you don't got to tell me about Natalie Shirilla. I know about her. Her mother was lazy AF. Oh, yeah, I already read that. She eating cookies and chips. Everything gets her triggered. It's like this girl raised herself and didn't learn manners or respect. Valentine's Day is soon. I'm so mad. I know. Didn't teach her anything. Yeah, Valentine's Day is coming up soon. We'll probably get there tomorrow. Well, yeah, because it's February. So we're close. We're close. Rose petals? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happens. And you guys better not cheat on me. You guys better not cheat on me. Okay, did you guys hit the like button? And please hype this live up. Please, 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 please. Oh my God, yeah, V-Day. I know. Sweet dreams, Sarah Beth Gibbons. Shout out to all of you guys for being here. There's a big crew in here tonight. I'm covering Brian Koberger this week, Ellen Greenberg, and Suzanne Lawrence and Mackenzie. So turn on your notifications. I'm going to try to do a day stream this week. So we'll see. But turn on your notifications. How do you hype? I think after the live, you go back to like live chat and comments and you can swipe. And I think there's a hype button there. I would finish this January, but I don't want to make the text lives too long because I know there's a lot of replay viewers. So shout out to all of the replay viewers. I appreciate it. I need a value. I know. Yeah, I am so excited. Yeah, and if you're not slow, hit the like. Cree. Thank you guys all for being here. Please, please, please give me a like. It really helps. You do such a good job. Thank you, Mama Silk. I hope you guys all have a good night. I'm going to eat some food and then prep for tomorrow. And then I will see you guys tomorrow. So if you didn't hit the like button, you're going to get blocked. She went to school and there are rules there. I'm just kidding. She knew right from wrong. Remember, Dom spending like a gram at Kalahari is not romantic and not for Valentine's Day. Dude, I didn't love the version of Dom in 2020, but I kind of wish, like, I'm like, damn, he kind of seems like later he's a better boyfriend. So, Okay, thanks, Jamie. I'll look at it. I have to get back to comments and emails, maybe tonight. Okay, have a good night. I'll see all of you tomorrow. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna eat some food. I don't know. Is it gonna be Charlie's? Is it gonna be Olive Garden? Is it gonna be Lucas? Hey, Tia Marie. Anyways, kissies. 3 kissies for all of you. Shout out to my mods. I love and appreciate you guys. Hit the like button on the way out, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Lily on the case, so no point in trying to run. The sun's can ask for feet pics, but you getting none. It's 5:00 with Melly, let's have some fucking fun. Some try to hide away, so all they do is work. But nobody can hide when she gets a hold of that paperwork. So don't you dare come in here acting like a jerk. Dance might make her dance, but Newport docs will make her wanna twerk. Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Melly on the case, so no point in trying to run. You Sims can ask for feet pics, but you getting none. It's 5:00 with Melly, let's have some fucking fun. So if you're feeling for true crime, like it's a drug, 5:00 with Melly is your motherfucking plug. Going so hard on criminals, they'll call their mama for a hug. She's finding out all the stuff they try to sweep under the rug. Dark hair shining in the Cali sun. Melly on the case, so no point in trying to run.